Welcome to Armchair Expert. I'm Dan Rather, and I'm joined by Leslie Stahl.
Oh, my gosh.
She comes up occasionally. Back in the old days, she would pop up a lot.
That is high praise.
Very high praise.
Yes.
I love Leslie Stahl.
Yeah, she's great.
She's a firecracker. Okay, long time coming. Number one current obsession as an actor, going on 3 years now, probably Walton Goggins.
Oh.
Walton Goggins, goggle glasses, Uncle Baby Billy's Bible bonkers. This guy's an alliteration wet dream.
Yes.
I love Walton Goggins.
I mean, he's an incredible actor, but he was also a beautiful person.
Such an interesting, colorful person. There should be an award for just best across the board actor. It's not on a single project, and it's like best dramatic, best comedy, whatever. There's just best actor, and I think Walton would be the shoe-in.
I agree.
Because there's nobody doing comedy better, and there's nobody doing drama better.
That's right.
Fallout, Justified, Righteous Gemstones, Vice Principals, The Hateful Eight. He stole The Hateful Eight, which is hard to do. That's a hell of a cast. Season 3 of The White Lotus. Woo! It wasn't enough he was in my favorite comedy show, Righteous Gemstones, or that he was in my favorite action show, Fallout. Now he had to join my favorite dramedy, White Lotus.
He hits all the genres.
What a dick. Also, Walton Goggins goggle glasses. Learn more at gogginsgoggles.com.
You'll hear us in the goggles at the top of the show.
Yeah, we'll be fully, if you're watching, we're adorned in the Goggins goggle glasses.
Yeah, we are.
Okay, now, this is a big merch update.
Yes, huge update.
So we were unable to do our own merch. We have to do our merch through Amazon Wondery. We have asked them if we can just do it while we're getting that sorted. And we have a 1 month window where we've got a bunch of really cool, well thought out merch. You can go to www.armchairexpertpod.com. Bunch of cool designs. A lot of things that were on the limited edition sweatshirts are now making their way to t-shirts.
With some additional designs and some sweats, and it's a really cool little collection.
Yes, and this is not calculated into a pressure cooker, but it will be about a month long that we're allowed to do this.
I mean, there's a chance we might be able to continue it. We don't know yet.
We don't know.
Just letting you guys know it's up.
We know we
now?
have the month, so order now. There'll be a delay because we have to make it all and ship it. So if you need it overnight, that's probably not going to happen. It's a pre-sale. But go there and order all the stuff you want, and then it'll get to you at some time. Go to www.armchairexpert.com.
Get your merch.
Get your merch. Please enjoy Walton Goggins goggle glasses.
He's an armchair expert. He's an armchair expert. He's an armchair expert.
Oh, hey, whoa, wait a
Yeah.
minute. Whoa, is there a guest? We have
go ahead.
I don't know that she's like, I think we have the star of the show. I'm just a guest star.
Monty, you want to slide yours on? I put them there for you.
Yes, I would.
Figure we could start in them.
Oh, my God.
He brought you specifically blue.
Yeah, like,
Honey, sit on the couch for half a second. You're not even
here,
mic.
have-
Can you
Here,
push
here.
this
your
product?
yeah.
Yeah, this bitch
Push,
can move
push.
product.
Pickleball, skydiving, wear it on the boat, scuba diving.
You ever cut onions in these bad boys?
Oh, I've cut onions in them.
Oh, I
yeah,
can't
yeah.
wait
nothing,
to
there's
cut
no
onions
penetration.
in these.
Yeah.
Very comfortable.
They're comfortable. They're cool.
This feels like we're having an interview on a chairlift on the way up the mountain, which kind of
does.
happens. You know,
Yeah.
you're sitting on that chairlift for minutes and minutes, and you end
Yeah.
up talking about some stuff.
I feel like
Right.
this is such a good product for you. You know how sometimes people have brands that
You're like, what?
So you're like, I don't get it. I don't
Right.
get the A
Right.
to B. This
Yeah.
is an A
Why
to
does
A.
Tom Cruise have lawn care equipment?
Exactly. It
Right.
makes
Yeah,
no sense.
yeah.
But this
But does he have long?
perfect.
No.
But does he?
Does he? We'll buy it.
Yeah, not yet.
The Top Gun mower.
Say the name out loud.
Walton Goggins goggle glasses.
I mean, that's as close as you can get
WGGG.
to Uncle Baby Billy's Bible bunkers.
Yeah, there's some similarities
It's a
there.
bit of a nod, isn't
Yeah,
it?
it's just a
Oh, it's
nod.
so
Just a
good.
little
They are
thing.
comfortable.
It worked out for Baby Billy. Maybe it'll work out for me. I am an athlete, but I'm not an athlete. I'm a good athlete. I'm not a great athlete at all.
Okay.
But really, the thing that I got out of playing sports more than anything else was I just love the equipment, man. Like I just love
The gear.
like, putting on the football pads.
The
I love the gloves. I mean, I
advertising
love
of it.
like pep rallies. Let me ask you something. Like wearing them right now. Do you think that you would go for a shot a pickleball shot that you might otherwise not go for
That's a great
since you have a
question.
strap on your head? Just go like,
Diving.
100%.
you would, right?
100p.
I feel 100p. I feel
Yeah.
very cool in these.
Honey, if you walk straight out of here and get in my Z-Wagon and drive the stick shift like you're Mario fucking Andretti, because
Yeah.
of those, I won't be shocked at all.
At all.
Oh my God.
No.
I've never driven a stick.
That's right.
We live like 15 minutes from a ski resort where we are now in the Hudson Valley.
Oh, nice.
I mean, it's the Hudson Valley, right? This isn't like Aspen, Colorado.
Sure.
But it's got a vibe. It's a super cool place. And I drop my kid off at school and like any good dad would, I mean, I'll go skiing. And then, you know,
Like most American dads.
yeah, like
During
10
the school
runs
day,
and then
yeah.
I'll have a beer.
Oh, what a
and
life.
sit outside and like there's a fire pit kind of out there and then go home and take a nap and sober up everyone, I promise.
And then
pick up my kid. But one particular day I was sitting out like it was like the fire pit, you know, it's just a lovely little thing and it's cold and I got these goggles on, you know, whatever the Oakley cool glasses are. And it was like, I'm cold, but I was just sitting there having a beer. I said, I never want to take these glasses off.
Sure.
Where are we all like when it comes to reading glasses and do you need them? Do you not need them? And go.
Year and a half ago,
Yeah.
my eyes died.
Yeah.
They just died.
Yeah.
And I don't know what happened, but it was overnight. And now I'm at I think a 1, I guess, is my prescription.
Oh, okay. A 1. Yeah.
And I don't think they're very strong, but when my kids put them on, they make quite a bit of fun.
Well, they get a headache instantly.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I do have to wear them a lot.
Same with my wife and who's older than I am, just a couple of years, baby. I'm so sorry.
Shout out
I wasn't
and
going to
apologies.
say 2 years and 2 days. November 8th, she's a Scorpio. I won't say the year, baby. You couldn't even see me wink, can you? Because you don't really know what's going on in my thoughts. But she said, you're, it's coming for you. And I said, I don't think so. I think it's ever coming for me. And then literally she said it'll happen overnight. And it did. It went from here to here. And then the next night,
Blind.
laid down to read and blind.
Your representatives, your publicists,
Yeah.
I bet in their best case scenario, they hoped we would talk about these glasses for 30 seconds. That's my guess.
I'm
When they were,
guessing
like,
that's probably, I'm guessing
when
that
their
was kind
most
of about
optimistic state, they're like, I pray they bring them up. And I hope they do 30 seconds on them. And we've done legit a good 15.
Yeah, I'm
We've done
starting
15
to panic,
minutes on these
actually. It's time to talk
Yeah.
about your
Don't
life.
panic. I'll get out of your hair. You guys have
it.
fun. You guys
It's so good to see you.
so nice to see you.
Will you,
Just
will
for
you
your- for
just
your-
publicly, real quick, put the,
Yes.
I want to tell you sincerely, 850 guests, she's asked to come meet, I think, 4 people. Where she said, what time are you recording? I'm going to make sure I'm not doing anything. I must meet this person, and you're one of 4.
Well,
We've
worked together.
Oopsie.
Way to go, Dax. Fucking. Not only did we
my.
work
Sorry, baby.
together,
Yeah.
so sorry.
But
I
Dax's
can't
point
really remember
stands. People are in and out of this yard all the time. People that I know, people that I don't know, people that I respect, people that I'm fans of. And I've come in to say hi to maybe 4 or 5 people, and you were definitely one of them because we are. How do you even say it? You're number 1.
Yeah. I bet,
No, you're our
and by the way, I have the evidence. I have on this show numerous times said you are my number 1. So far
You
away.
come up a lot.
Yeah. I don't think I've
hell of
ever
a lot.
seen
I gotta put
anyone.
these on before I get emotional.
They're great to mask public crying too. We left that out. There isn't anyone I've ever seen that is apex drama and apex comedy the way you are. It seems impossible, to be honest.
Thank you so much.
You
It's
can't
fucking
not
to go
nail it.
from righteous to Fallout in 1 year.
Honest to God, it's
Staggering.
and the fact that you were in that disgusting face mask on Fallout, and every woman in America was still like, "I want that sexy radiation cowboy in my bedroom once a week." You got the rhythm. We love you.
Yeah.
I'm glad I got to see you.
It's really good to see you.
Oh,
Yeah,
look
you
at
don't really have the
that.
body of a beer drinker. When you said that, I was like, I don't buy it.
Okay.
He's one of these guys, though. We're gonna get into it. He's one of these charms. Yeah, yes, those are yours.
Hey, yours. They're yours.
And yours look great as a hairband.
Yeah, I love it
Yeah,
as a
as a
also a hairband
Yeah.
accessory.
Yeah.
Very exciting.
Well, they have, there are a lot of different, the names, right? And then we'll just kind of move on to something else. But the white ones are cumulonimbus.
which is a cloud formation.
Yes, they are.
Oh.
White. I think they're the coolest.
Okay.
in the sense that it's like, fuck, he's rocking some white fucking goggle glasses with a red, white, and blue band.
Like it's confidence.
It's confidence. It's very
Yes.
cool.
Yeah.
And then we have a noir pair, a black pair called Mama Skillet, named after my Mama Skillet.
Is it?
Yes, it is.
Okay, we're gonna
Black
pin in
skillet.
Mama Skillet.
Yeah,
We're gonna need to-
and these are Tortuga, right? Which is like you got to have a tortoise shell, man.
So what is the
Nice.
word Tortuga? Where does it come from?
It means a black and brown pattern.
Oh, okay. It's not like
No, it's a turtle.
yeah.
It's a turtle.
It's a type of turtle.
I think
It's a turtle.
in
Yeah,
Spanish.
in Spanish.
Oh, in
Tortuga.
Spanish.
Yes, and then we have limoncello,
Ooh, that's
which is
nice.
yellow,
Uh-huh.
right?
Which is yellow.
And then we have the color that you're wearing, which is,
Oh.
guess what? Blue.
Wow.
So
Decided to
cool.
go real
Just
conventional for just
regular
one.
blue.
So
Which is
cool.
comical because if any color deserved an adjective before it, it would be blue. There's so many
Yeah.
kinds.
That's
But you're
right.
like, no, there's only one blue, and this is
you're,
it.
you're thinking differently. You're on a
Oh, he
different
Okay,
just picked
Walton
up some
Goggins.
questions. Okay, here we
Okay.
go.
We're going to get serious now,
Okay,
sir.
let's get so serious.
So yeah, you get it. I love you so much. I have been wanting this to happen for very, very long. And I was working with Rob Corddry for a period, who I
Sure.
adore. And then I found out you guys are close and you would vacation together in Europe, which sounds exactly what I'd imagine you do.
Hey, always.
So elegant. And maybe I want to jump to one thing to then come back to where you're from, because I was watching an interview with you and you were discussing having been offered Justified to be in the pilot. You were going to die in Justified, and that was going to be it.
Yeah.
And you read it and you turned it down twice
Mm-hmm.
for a very specific reason.
Mm-hmm.
And I want you to tell me why, because I really liked it.
I'm a huge Elmore Leonard fan, for one thing, but I felt that it was so one-dimensional, and I did not, because I can afford not to do this anymore.
Yeah, for much of your early career, all of us, we got to play what they offer.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if you're Italian and you're from New York, chances are you're gonna
shoot somebody.
Yeah, absolutely.
yeah.
And you're gonna be eating some fucking pasta.
You're gonna eat some
For
pasta. You're
sure.
gonna dig a hole in the desert.
Absolutely.
And you're gonna smile while you're doing it.
Yeah, that's right. And but we all look for boxes to kind of fit in when we're starting out, and it just so happened to be at that point in my life that I'd gotten out of a number of those boxes, and this was one box that I just felt like I can't perpetuate this stereotype and sell out my culture, anymore, because
Wow.
that's from an outsider's perspective, like a lot of things, like a lot of different cultures in America, they're reducible to one impersonation. Right. And it's like, okay, well, if I can speak like this, and I come down here and like I'm from the South, what does that even fucking mean? I mean, the South represents a third of this country. Each region is, and each state and each part of every state is very unique.
Yeah.
Like the state of New York. I mean, the state of New York isn't just New Yorkers. I mean, I live in the state of New York now.
Two dramatically different cultures, actually. You live in both,
Dramatically,
right?
yeah, absolutely.
Manhattan and
in the
Hudson
Hudson
Valley.
Valley. Yeah, that's right. And so, but it just felt like I was at a place in my life where, I just was unwilling to do that.
to participate in the perpetuation of this.
Yeah. Because I mean, and I think everybody, at some point whenever you can kind of step out, you don't need the money. Morally, you just don't think that it's right, and you don't want to feel shame whenever you're visiting, those places that you're just, another part of the problem. Right. This is where the conversation ends. And I wanted it to be where the conversation began. And so on the third conversation we had, after I turned it down twice, and I say that's no,
You're not big
I'm
time.
I'm not proud of it. There's no ego involved in that whatsoever, because I'm such a huge fan of Tim Oliphant's and Michael Dinner, who was directing it and wrote a good bit of it, but Graham Yost, who wrote the pilot. On the third time, I said, okay, I'll do it. Two things. I'm the smartest person in the room, always. After I say this very long speech in the pilot, you just
This kind of crazy racist rant.
Racist rant, that's right. That you say this one line, which is, I know you don't believe half the things that you're saying. You just need an audience or something like that.
Yeah.
I just needed a version of that line.
Yeah.
For him to see through that, which is true.
It's crazy having watched it, not knowing that story, and how important that weird detail was, because it also built this weird rapport with you two, which makes it so much more compelling. You have a past.
Yes, we do have a past.
And that little line that you were wanting to not perpetuate, right?
Yeah.
Ends up also being this other layer, which is really, really compelling.
Well, it also allows the audience to kind of come into the experience, doesn't it? I mean, like, no one has tolerance for intolerance, really. You know, I don't.
Right.
And it just gave, you know, the audience the opportunity to experience this person and really to go forward. I ask for those things not with a 6-year contract. You know, this was
To be in the pilot and die.
Just the pilot and die.
Right.
You know, it's
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
okay, I'll come in, you know, and we'll do this thing and just give me that, and then I can sleep better at night.
And, you know, he's so fucking incredible. After they tested it and everything, every single person like, well, no, not a chance. That
We
guy can't.
need-
Yeah, he can't die.
Yeah, it just adds a third dimension to a person.
We had a guest that so like beautifully articulated this. Do you know the author Barbara Kingsolver by chance? Doesn't
God, I'm
matter. She
embarrassed to
wrote
say- yeah.
the Pulitzer Prize winning book last year, Demon Copperhead.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah.
The most
Yeah.
beautiful book.
Oh,
I
God.
read it. My whole family's from Kentucky. She said in that book, she was trying to explain how it feels to be in the South, and especially in Appalachia. She described it as, we're in the bathroom stall in high school, and we can hear you making fun of us. We hear the popular kids making fun of us.
Yeah,
We get these TV shows.
yeah.
We get these songs. We get all this stuff. We can hear you.
Mhm.
It's so fucking offensive and hurtful,
Yeah,
and you don't even care.
no,
It's so easy to do.
yeah.
And it's so hurtful, and we can hear you. And the way she described it as sitting in a bathroom stall and hearing everyone talk about you, I just had a whole renewed compassion for one of the great stereotypes that kind of persists. And
Yeah. I mean, in some ways, it was, you know, I hope I don't get in trouble for saying this, but it's permissible,
Yeah.
you know, in urban culture, like, you know, certainly on both coasts.
It's low hanging fruit. It's always there.
That's right. You can
Yes.
always go to it, and you can always get a laugh from your constituents.
And
And,
they're with us watching.
Yeah, that's right.
And
yeah,
it's a
they're
bummer.
part of it. They're also in the audience. Yeah, that's
It's
right.
hurtful. So you were born in Birmingham, Alabama, but you grew up in Georgia, where Monica grew up as
I'm
well.
from Georgia.
Whoa!
I know you're talking about Kentucky, but I'm from Georgia.
a little peach.
That's right, Little Peach.
and
Little Peach Pie.
and ATL or you?
Yeah, Duluth.
And
So
Duluth,
half
yeah.
hour or whatever.
Yeah, of
where?
course.
Where in Georgia?
You know, we lived in a fucking trailer in Birmingham, Alabama, first year of my life. And I think my mom's sisters lived. I think it was like,
Yeah.
I don't know, 5 or 6 people.
Yeah.
And my parents got divorced pretty early, like in my
What age?
childhood. 3, I think 3, something like that, maybe 2.5, 3,
Yeah.
something like that. So, but my earliest memories are with my mom in Decatur, Georgia, which is right downtown, right?
It's very cool now.
Yeah,
Decatur.
it's very hip, right? Indian
Yeah.
Park. Like, there's so many great places in Atlanta now. Like so many, urban cities in America.
Yeah.
Had this whole new generation has kind of come in and give me some third wave coffee and fucking some great sourdough bread and
A little
Ooh,
avocado
what's next?
toast.
What's coming next? Ooh, great! Oh, Mediterranean food, fantastic.
But Lithia, do you know Lithia?
Lithia Springs. We moved out to which is West Side.
Uh-huh.
We moved out to, my mom and I lived in Decatur like 3 years. You know, one of my earliest memories, I couldn't have been more than 4. I have a lot of memories from that house that we lived in, this duplex. But one is one of the scariest memories of my childhood, of my life, really.
Mhm.
And it was, my mom's bedroom was in the front. My bedroom was in the back. And my mom was, you know, she's a young woman. She's a beautiful woman. And she had a super cool boyfriend and all the rest of it. And I slept in my bed alone. Like
You were
a
an only
lot of us
child
did.
at that point?
Only child. Yeah,
Okay,
yeah. And I went to sleep and my little twin bed was right up against the wall. And with my body, I'm going to say my upper torso was next to the wall, right?
Mhm.
And then from my knees down, being a father, I understand these kind of measurements, right? I mean, you know what that's like for a 4-year-old. It's not a lot of space in the
Yeah,
body.
yeah.
And so, but from my knees down was in front of a window, and I was going to sleep, And just as I was about to fall asleep, there was a light in the backyard. And I had this, whatever the fucking house came with, these shades that were kind of pulled down. So you had this light kind of outside and it was an opaque shade. So you could see through it. And just as I was falling asleep, I saw someone crawl in front of my window. Because there was a roof right outside of it. Was 2 stories, a roof right outside that window.
Yeah.
And I saw it like, I don't know if it was a man or a woman. I have no idea.
I think we can assume it's a man.
I'm thinking.
If I'm betting on this.
Or a woman
think so.
escaping.
It was a man.
Let's go like it is.
Crawled, and he made his way, he was on his knees and he made his way in. And he was just sitting there like perfectly outlined in my window, his whole body. And then he went up and I couldn't scream.
Yeah.
And he went
frozen.
up, and he had his hands on the window, and he was trying to see if it would open, and he was kind of doing the thing up, and I couldn't do it. I couldn't scream, and he went up, and then eventually he just kind of went past the window, and as soon as he was out of sight, I got my voice back, and I started screaming.
Yeah.
And
did mom's boyfriend run to the scene?
Yeah, I don't know if he was there that night. I don't remember.
Okay.
That's kind of the end of that memory.
Right.
I remember my mom coming in or something, but it was terrifying.
Yeah.
And then we moved out to Lithia Springs when I was, I don't know, maybe I guess 5 years old. And we found an 1850s farmhouse, and it was 2 bedrooms. And you had to walk through my room to get to the bathroom, right?
Yeah.
And it was fucking cold. It was really fucking cold in the winter. It was the kind of thing. He was like, well, I'm going to go to sleep with this glass of water on the edge of my bed. And I know I'm going to wake up and it's going to be frozen. Yeah. Look, Mama, I can't, there's no more water in my glass, Mama.
Get me out of here.
I can't get,
What the fuck's wrong with us? Were there stepdads in the mix?
I did not have a stepdad. My mom never got remarried. But she had some boyfriends and I loved all of them.
You did.
I loved them madly. And, some of them were a little hard and, a couple of them were younger than they probably should have been.
Good for her.
My mom's so fucking hot.
Oh my
Could you
God. We need a
resist?
picture of your mom.
She's just cool. My mom's so fucking cool.
Yeah, who do you get your swagger from? Because I have been lucky enough to see photos of your dad, and Monica, I can't wait to describe his father to you, but you showed some pictures on Seth Meyers of him.
Yeah.
And he is a one of a fucking kind.
Oh, dude, he texted me a photo yesterday. Fucking, oh my God. Dad, if you ever see this, I can't believe you made this fucking coffee mug. But it was a picture of these glasses, and me and these glasses are part of the campaign or whatever. And he made himself a coffee mug where, he's a narcissist, my dad.
Yeah.
Clinical,
Sure.
and I think he knows it, don't you, Dad? I mean, you do. Come on, Dad, you know it.
He's listening
But he
because you're
literally
talking
sent
about
me
him.
this thing. He didn't. I mean, he said congratulations, and he loves me.
Yes.
And I love him. It has these logos, like this logo, fucking all over this little thing here, all over the bottom of it, and then at the top that's facing out. Where people would be seeing it.
Yeah.
Is a picture of me in these glasses. Yeah. And he just said underneath it in big letters, there is no him without me.
Oh, no.
That's what it says on the mug.
On the fucking mug,
Yes,
man.
perfect. I could almost guess that caption. My father, and I wonder if you have this, as I got famous, he loved, of course, telling people. I wanted to take in how proud he was of me, and he was deeply proud of me.
Yeah.
But I couldn't trust that it wasn't maybe more about him getting attention.
Of course, man.
You're an extension of him.
Which makes more sense now that I have kids. I get, you're right. There is a very tiny line between you, but
okay. But let me ask you,
can you relate to that?
I had a lifetime of that. We're not the only people, right, that have had this kind of experience. My father was married 6 times, but one was annulled.
Okay,
right?
well, we'll still count it.
I'm going to count that.
It was like a shotgun kind of annulment. But so it was like, the running joke kind of in my household was like, inevitably everybody has a bumper sticker that says honk if you've ever been married to Sandy Goggins. Fucking who hasn't he married? I mean, honestly, but my mom never remarried, but she had some wonderful men come through. And then we had a cast of characters like in my life It was like kind of this way station for people. My mom was.
She took people in.
She was the most sane of her three sisters.
Yeah.
And who were fucking and are insane clinically, I think. Okay. But it was really colorful and a really, I was raised kind of by the real Steel Magnolias.
You got to meet characters, it sounds like.
Man, not only I get to meet them, they fucking lived with us.
Yeah,
It was
they raised you.
Yeah, it was kind of being raised by, a group of people that.
Upon reflection, though, are you grateful for it?
I'm so grateful for it. When I grew up, where you grew up and when you grew up, whenever you would meet someone that was so fucking authentic, even someone who was relatively authentic, even someone who was just like the farmer across the street, Kermit, and and his wife, are like, everyone in my life was eccentric.
Yeah.
Like had no, except for the Hearst family, which were my neighbors. Holly and David were my best friends, and Ken and Carol were like my mom and dad. They actually fed me regularly, right? They had a bed that I could always sleep in, and they would actually take me to practice, but they would also pick me up from practice, right?
Wow.
They were dependable.
They were about as good as Americans can get. They were just wonderful people.
Yeah.
But goddamn, I'm glad that I wasn't raised solely by them, this far into it.
Yeah.
And I just absolutely love fucking lunatics.
Yes.
I love crazy people, but just enough crazy. I don't see enough people stopping and seeking out those conversations or taking the time with people like that, the way that I did. And maybe I think, I'm around a lot of people, but I just don't see that listening to those people. And am I wrong about that?
You think people dismiss?
I think that eccentricity, if it doesn't fit if the conversation can't be had in about 3 minutes, and if it is like,
if it doesn't jive with all of your,
it's really interesting. But if you're only checking one of the 10 boxes required for me to have a conversation, I'm not fucking having it, right? Because people are busy and there's a phone and there's a thing like. Do you think that's true or no?
Gosh, I think it's complicated because I also think people, because of social media, people also lean deeply into their eccentricity, almost in an inauthentic way.
In a performative way.
It's performative. So I think authenticity has gotten very complicated and public and confusing.
And you are interfacing with people that have either real or faux eccentricities, and you are engaging with them in that platform. I didn't even think about that.
Well, also you can get that itch scratch, which is you can go watch someone that's batshit nuts on Instagram, and you're like, oh, good, I saw my great. Whereas when we were kids, Kristen will hear me say this all the time. It's like we're somewhere at an airport, and I just lock onto somebody, and I'll say out loud, I got to find out what this guy's up to. And I'll go chat, like people catch my eye all the time. And I'm like dying to find out what's cracking, what's going on outside of this airport. What kind of kid were you in school?
I was alone a lot as a kid, because I was a single mom, right? And I don't know how, I was just alone a lot. And so over the course of my life, I had babysitters' houses, or I felt like I spent most of my life waiting to be picked up. At times I felt like, an inconvenience, even though that wasn't their intention.
Yeah.
I remember seeing like the bridges of Madison County and fucking Burbank whenever that movie came out in the early 90s or whatever. And then calling my mom from a payphone in the fucking lobby, walking out, apologizing for being bored, but not just like, I'm so sorry I held you back from doing some of these things, and
you were young and your whole life was ahead of you.
Yeah. And she still had a fucking great life.
Well, it sounds like it's because of younger suitors.
But but she was like, no, that's not no, son. No, you are the gift. You are it.
Yeah.
But at the time I didn't feel that. I think in school, if you were to if this was a class reunion or this is your life, people from my middle school or high school, I was popular, kind. I think I was relatively, I think I could make people laugh, I could charm people.
Yeah.
I always felt different. I always knew that this wasn't like, I'm not
You're not going to be here.
Yeah, I'm not going to be
forever.
here forever, right?
Yeah.
And I had a lot of friends. I mean, like my senior superlative, even though I didn't win it, but I was the second or the first runner-up for most friendliest, you know?
Uh-huh.
And I thought it would be best dressed, but they took that out of the fucking, thing like that year because it's like, well, we just decided, like because poor kids that, they don't have the same opportunity. I'm poor, motherfucker.
But I figured it out.
But I figured it out. I got a job, motherfucker. I work
with
at
this
Riches.
$2 scarf
Yeah.
with this $3 shirt, and now
You
it
see
looks-
this shit? Look at this. I bought this shit.
Stay tuned for more Armchair Expert, if you dare.
I was a great student.
Oh, no kidding.
A great student.
Ah.
I had no structure in my life. I've said this in other interviews that like I don't think I slept in the same bed for more than 7 days straight until I was like fucking 15. You know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
So I had to generate my own structure.
Yeah.
And large part of that, it helped me. It served me my entire life, right?
Yeah.
Because it's like, okay, well, I got to work harder than everybody in this room.
Well, it makes you a self-starter because no
Yeah.
one's going to start it for you.
That's right. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
exactly right. And so, but studying and all of those things, and I remember writing a poem that was the class assignment,
Mhm.
and it was pick it about this. It's like a haiku or whatever it was, and so I picked it about divorce,
Mhm.
and I wrote this thing, and then I came to turn it in, and then like the next day or whatever, she gave it back to me. It was like an F, And then I said,
whoa.
I said, I'm so sorry. Like, I think this is pretty good. And she said, it's great, but you didn't write it. And I said, what?
Oh, so it's the ultimate
Yeah,
compliment.
yeah. It's like you didn't write this.
You must have
And I said,
plagiarized
what are you talking? Yes, I did. I'm like that guy. It's from my heart. Yeah. Like
I just showed you my heart, showed you my shit on it.
Yeah.
Call me a fraud.
Yeah. And then my mom kind of came to school and said, no, it was him. And so it all worked out.
Wow.
I've never wanted to read a poem in my entire life until right now. I'm like dying to
Do you
read
know
this
it? Do you know it by
7th grade
heart?
poem.
I know.
I might get it
don't.
tattooed on my
I don't
calf.
know by heart.
Aw.
No. I remember a couple raps I wrote in high school. We'll get to that later.
Okay, so you went to Southern Georgia University for a year and a half?
Georgia Southern?
Georgia Southern.
Georgia Southern.
Did you go to?
I went to Georgia.
Yeah,
I went to
you went to
UGA.
you went to UGA.
I did.
Yeah.
Good
She
old
too was a
Athens.
great
Fucking
student.
great.
Good old
God, I mean, you really are. You from Georgia,
I
man.
know I am. I
Wow.
sure am. We got in a big fight about it because I went to the Texas game with Dax and
In Texas, in Austin.
Well, are you a big
Longhorn.
Texas? Are you?
No, he's not.
I'm a big Austin fan.
Yeah, I'm a big Austin.
It's
fan
my
too, isn't it?
religion.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
That's
they
the
were
number
playing-
one city in America.
That's a great city. man.
Well, they were playing Georgia, and I refused to.
And we were
like-
the guests
We were guests of some
of
Texans.
McConaughey,
Oh,
which is
oh,
it's
yeah,
his
of
fucking
course.
religion.
That's his fucking
We're
religion.
in his thing. We gotta hook him.
Yeah,
No,
you
we
gotta
don't.
hook 'em.
No, we don't. Not
Did
when
you
it-
wear like a fucking Georgia hat?
I wore a bulldog shirt and a red
Probably- and,
sweater.
like, were you on the field or were you in? You were
No, we were
definitely
in
in
the
a
box.
booth. In a box, yeah.
but surrounded by a bunch of orange, and I
you
was like,
were.
absolutely not.
Yeah.
And she was so
Yeah.
mad that I wanted the Longhorns to win.
Wow.
It put our friendship to the test.
really did.
We barely navigated that
Wow.
one.
We don't have to talk about it now, but I want to know the history of this friendship. and how
Oh
you,
yeah, it's an odd pairing.
We're best friends.
Yeah.
We fight nonstop. We think about the world so differently, so often. But yeah,
It
It's good.
works. It works.
it works big time. It's
But I
good.
do, circling back a little bit, I do think we are very volatile.
Yeah.
And I think that's somewhat of a result of his upbringing and potentially mine. And when we were talking about chaos
Yeah.
and relationships,
Yeah.
do you seek that out? I think we subconsciously seek it out.
You mean conflict with each other, or do you think in your own lives?
Like if I'm being honest,
Yeah.
I think that's part of the draw. There's something always
yeah.
that could blow up.
Yeah, that's right. And part of the attraction to this.
I think so.
Right.
I think I crave novelty. I crave a challenge. I crave being engaged.
Mhm.
And because she's so smart and has such a strong point of view, and it's so often different from mine, it's very ripe for very engaged, very heartfelt debate. And we love each other. So we would like to have the same opinion. So the stakes are high.
Right. Yeah.
Now that makes for a great show. It's been going on for 7 years.
It's been going on a long time.
We have to really navigate it quite often.
Yeah. Okay.
But I think that's the best kind of relationship.
I agree with you. I like
could you be with I could never be with a fan. I have friends, I know people who are very successful, and then they get a very beautiful person who's just along for the ride, and they're a fan.
Yeah.
I would be so bored out of my mind. Like, my wife is hard as a motherfucker. I gotta, right?
Yeah. Super smart, super talented.
Very driven, very ambitious, gonna get her way.
Yeah.
I need that.
Yeah, I have that in my life. My wife is more often than not the smartest person in any room that I walk in, for sure. And she's a fucking intellectual baller, you know, and can speak about the world. She understands the world in a very nuanced, complex way. And is able to walk with kings, you know, really.
Yeah, and you got to have your shit straight before you enter into a fray with her. Like, she makes you, I'm presuming, the very best version of yourself.
Well, I mean, I don't know, or like the worst version too, you know, because it's, and the thing that, you know, we have, or the thing that I say often is like, look, I'm Zen 99% of the time. And she says, well, it's the 1% where you should be fucking Zen, man. You know, it's the 1% when you're challenged to that place. That's your lesson. I said, or maybe it's fucking not my lesson. You know? But that's kind of that thing. I mean, I think I'm cool. I'm cool to, hey man, fuck you. I'm not cool. I'm cool until I'm not cool. And so, and I think that level of volatility is present in my work, and maybe you feel that way in your work. And that is the same with my wife and all of my friends. Mm-hmm. I look for that in other people. It's like, you know, wow, okay, this motherfucker.
I need 10% crazy in the mix.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And
100%.
Monica's 26% crazy.
Yeah.
And I'm 35% crazy. So.
I would go up a little bit on that.
You know what though? You know, and I don't know if you feel this way. Is Kristen crazy?
That's a great question.
Less and less.
Less and less and less. Yeah. She's
but
really,
she has that.
Both of us, by the way, have gotten way milder.
Of course you have.
It can exist so much easier than it, you know, 17 years. You're 19 years?
20.
Wow.
20. January 11th, man. January 11th. Yeah. I mean, we've been married for that long, but we met, on a blind date. Yeah. Like 20 years ago, January 11th.
The stuff you used to... The volume comes down on a lot of stuff.
It has, and we've really we've gone through a lot, like like every relationship has, and it's been really quite a bit in the last while, and like every relationship, you know, ups and downs and peaks and valleys and all the rest of it. But there's this thing that has eluded us for so long, and it's like, and we see it coming. Mm-hmm. Like, it's like, oh, I fucking know exactly how this is going to go down. And I don't want to, like, okay, let's step off this train right now. Let's step off. Like, there's an off ramp right here, man. Here it is. Like, you could
can take it. We can take it.
You could just turn around. Like, there's an off ramp here. Oh, she's not letting you leave. Oh, you're not letting her. Oh, hey, you know what? Hey, man,
now we're doing
it. Fucking, I'm out, man.
Yeah.
The little switch flips
of here,
and a little burst of euphoria comes when you go, oh, I'm going to burn the house down. Here we go.
That's right.
And it's a little bit intoxicating.
It is intoxicating, but you know who in my family doesn't have any of that, even though it is our child. He is so fucking calm and so wise and so measured and extremely passionate.
Yeah.
And
how fun.
A deep thinker.
What could be more
deep
fun?
Thinker. Yeah.
Okay, here's the limb I wanted to go out on.
Okay, let's go out on
But I
a
was
limb.
just curious, given the similar background. Is it hard for you when someone's in a bad mood? Like, my things with my wife are generally, and I have this with Monica too, I have this with everyone in my life. If someone's in a really bad mood, I have this unreasonable desire to fix that for them and to regulate them.
Right.
And if I can't do it, I'm very uncomfortable.
Yeah, right. Because you spend a lifetime doing that, regulating kind of other people's.
Well, that was my
moods
guess.
and
I'm
that's-
wondering, like, single mom, it's like normally dad would be in charge of that. If mom's got an emotional issue, dad would be in charge of it. But I think
my mom was so she never fit that box, right? She never fit that stereotype. Smoked a lot of weed, had a really good time. Loved, very passionate woman, loved to have sex.
Mine too.
Yeah, right.
My mom's an admitted love addict.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And started, studying like Paramhansa Yogananda and Joel Goldsmith and the Urantia and the I Am. And she like went on this spiritual journey, started when I was about, 10 or 11 years old, and kind of had me reading, all of those texts.
Yeah.
So much so that I just kind of missed out on the classics because I felt like it was a waste of time. If you weren't doing something that it was expanding kind of your consciousness, then why would you do it?
Yeah,
I didn't realize that until I was in a car with some friends that I had made in California or in LA when I first moved out here, coming back from San Diego and hearing these people talk about Hemingway and Somerset Maugham and so many of the great Faulkner and how they were, they had the opportunity to be in school. They had a college education.
Yeah.
And hearing them, kind of cross-reference these authors and how it was applicable to cinema or a song that they were listening to. And I just, was in the back seat, just like, I wasn't saying anything,
Right.
I was just listening to all of this. And I just thought, I want that kind of in my life. To circle back to what you said, no, I didn't. I had to please a lot of people. I had to please my father. I wasn't around him that much, but when I was, I desperately had to do that. That's not our problem. My problem is early in my life. My problem was a profound insecurity, based on poverty, right? And not having those things to the point where. In high school or like middle school, a girlfriend's parents were coming to pick me up, and I would just give them an address that wasn't my address. And right before they were supposed to get me, like I say, okay, Mom, I gotta go. My mom never really had no structure, no boundaries,
Right.
no boundaries whatsoever. My mom was like, I trust you, man, and so I would just slip out of the house and I would go to
a nicer
Ken
house.
And Carol's house, my neighbors, with the nicer home, and just like hide in the ditch, or out by their bushes, and I would see the headlights kind of pull in, and I would just run out in the driveway.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, hey, y'all, what's going on? Yeah, we're ready. And then the lights would come on, and this is that your? I was like, they're fine. Bye, Mom. Yeah. And then kind of get into things.
It's humiliating, right? Poverty is humiliating when you're young like that.
You just don't fit in, right? There's just like we never filled up our gas tank ever. I don't think I never remember my mom or an aunt or one of these fucking crazy people I was with. No one had the money to put more than like, $3 to $5 in your gas tank. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I had a lot of that. And so then it would like, it's like a chip on your shoulder, but it's not. And then you allow for judging, right?
Mm-hmm.
Until it gets to a certain point, and then you react to that judging. It's like, well, wait a minute, I'm just as good as you. And so I had a lot of that shit early on, especially kind of in relationships. Just I was left a lot, so like a lot of people, abandonment issues.
Yeah.
And just thinking, I'm never. Everyone leaves. Everyone's going to leave. So, I don't, please don't love me or love me and please don't let me go.
Yeah.
I think that's a journey for a lot of people. And what in my own journey, in my own spiritual walk, which is a part of, this whole experience of the White Lotus, falling in love with yourself, like really, like if you can get to that point where you're okay, with you, you're okay. Even though once you find it, then it will very quickly disappear.
Yeah, it's transient.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
And once you have that realization and once you have a degree of self-love, at least this is what my experience was, that also came with boundaries, real boundaries. And I've gotten better about, hey, you're treading in, like, this is no man's land right now. We're okay, but this is not okay with me. And I'm not poor anymore.
Yeah.
But I don't think that ever fully leaves you.
Do you wrestle with, I'd wrestle a lot with, I hated rich people. If there were a bad guy in the world, it was rich people.
Yeah.
Because I felt less than around them all the time. So I didn't like how I felt. It's not their fault. I now know that. But, I had this chip on my shoulder about rich people.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
And then trying to come to terms with the reality of, I'm one of those people.
Yeah.
That's a little discombobulating.
And there's shame around that.
Yeah. You feel guilt. You have survivor's guilt. It's complicated.
The thing that I had, and something you kind of brought up earlier, and experiencing it in the back of this car, came up from San Diego. My envy wasn't around the acquisition of things, right? Even though I just wish we had some fucking heat. You know what I mean? Like these are just like bare
Some
minimum.
staples.
The water would stay liquid.
Yes, I wish we had some yogurt. Something like some extravagant, piece.
Wish I didn't have to cut off half of this block of cheese to get to the good cheese.
Yes, that's exactly right. But it was time to think. Like, I was jealous and envious of, wow, man, these people went to college and they just were fucking in college. They just had an opportunity to, even though they worked or whatever, but they had an opportunity to just sit and learn or read and then go, talk about things that they had just learned. And I never had the space to do that. And I would have been good at it. I'd have been really, really good at it. And while I left school after,
a year and a half.
But you're right, it's a privilege. I think we do forget, we take for granted that going to school and being able to be there and think critically is a privilege.
It is a privilege.
Yeah.
We
huge.
just do it. We think we have to do it. We go, we try to get through it. And it should be rethought of.
Or just like a daily reminder of, this is a privilege. It's not a right. And what do you do kind of with with the time that you have at the microphone? What is it that you want to say? Well, I didn't have that in college. I have been able to, even without money, give myself those opportunities through travel, and being alone, giving myself permission to be on the road for a very long period of time, understanding culture. I've talked about this in other interviews, so this isn't revelatory. But in addition to that, I feel that way about work. I feel that way about the time I am now afforded to give myself to live in my imagination in preparation to start a job.
Yeah.
And to stay in that world over the course of telling that story.
Yeah.
So I feel like I have that now. That's my education. And that's time to ask those existential questions, or listen to that music, or read that this person would listen to, or watch those movies that are applicable to this experience.
Just indulge your imagination.
Yeah, that's right.
You have time and space to fucking indulge this part of your brain.
Yeah.
That's so special that very few people get to.
And I don't take that for granted.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
I'm with you. Yeah. I'm never interested in why someone wanted to become an actor, but with you, I am. How do we go from that tiny town in a year and a half in college? When do you go, I'm going to be a performer?
I feel like I was always a performer. I was raised around some very performative people.
Yeah.
Really interesting, funny people. They were great storytellers.
Yeah, if you're going to take up time at the dinner table, it better fucking land.
Yeah, and even if you couldn't, because there were 5 stories going at once, do you know what I mean? But more often than not, people would pass the baton in my household, and there wasn't a lot of talking over each other. It was depending on the level of inebriation, how fucking short or how long the story is, These were, very eccentric people. When it was my turn to talk, it was like little Walt. And I was like their love. I was like the great love of the women in my family. And I I knew that again was a privilege and not a right to be given the microphone.
Yeah.
Around this group of really great storytellers, and I would tell my ass off story. I tell my storytelling ass off, and so I think that was always kind of a part of it. But I really kind of stumbled into it again.
Well, when you moved to LA, did you move here specifically to try to act?
I did. Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
I mean, I also just wanted a great experience. I got an American Express in college, right? My freshman year. As soon as I got there, I got God damn, I got mail. Like who knows I'm going to school here? How do you guys know?
It's
Walton
happening.
Goggins. I got a mailbox. And it was, the 4 or 5 pieces of mail. And, the first thing that I opened was an American Express, an offer to join American Express.
Yeah.
And with this offer in 1989 were 2 round trip tickets for $99 east of the Mississippi or $199 west of the Mississippi.
Yeah.
And plane tickets were like $1,000.
Yeah, it was
crazy.
From Atlanta to fucking Los Angeles in 1989. I mean, they were not cheap.
Yeah.
And I just saw it and I thought, oh, well, this experience is over. Like I'm going to use this voucher. I'm going to do my year in the school. I'm never going to spend $1 on this card.
Yeah.
Nothing. I'll just have it. I'll get it, apply it.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to use both of these vouchers. And it's
Wow.
exactly what I did a year later, year and a half later.
Wow.
Did
And
you-
who went
and,
with you?
Nobody.
Oh.
No, I went on my own.
Because you had 2 vouchers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean-
Well, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, because I had 2.
Yeah, I didn't know.
No. I used both of them. My dad came with me when I drove across country because he wanted to.
Get his eyes on the big.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
big city.
I wish you could have seen this photo. His dad is adorned head to toe in black leather, turquoise on every single finger. He has photos of himself. People do ask him for photos everywhere he goes. He's a very interesting person. He's
Yeah.
visiting Walton in New York, and people are asking for photos. And he's, oh, well, I have one signed. He has signed photos of himself. He has signed photos of Walton that he has signed.
Oh my.
So that's who. That's who we're.
You
just
need
set
to
up.
make a mug with his picture of that, and it needs to say, "There's no this without me," because that's also true.
And that's the end of the interview.
Tit
Yeah.
for tat.
Yeah.
The ride really, so I'm going to blow through a couple because
Yeah.
I want to get to
Yeah.
3 things.
Yeah. Okay.
The Shield
Yep.
is the first, in my opinion, from the outside, seems like you're now in the big leagues. You have a steady paycheck. You're one of the season regulars. Is that the big?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I started, I moved here when I was 19. I had $300 in my pocket and I, lived the way that I lived and worked how I worked. And then what gave me permission not to feel like I needed to work anymore, even though I did for a little while afterwards,
Yeah.
was The Apostle with Robert Duvall.
Oh,
And that was wow, okay, that's my hero. It really is my
Yeah.
hero. And so that was really kind of even though I was working, like I think I made $21,000 on over 3 months for fucking The Next Karate Kid, and it was like, that was a lot of money, for me, that was a lot of money.
well, clearly,
And,
yeah. From 19 to 30 you are when you get on the Shield.
29. Yeah.
29.
Yeah.
You make it work.
Yeah. I mean,
You're on Beverly Hills 90210.
Yeah, I
You're
did.
popping in
I did a fair amount of films, but then I thought like Shanghai Noon was going to be the thing, what I mean?
Yeah.
I had a pretty big role in Born Identity that ultimately they decided to go with Gabriel Mann instead, and they just offered me another thing. And so I had like, but people didn't know what the fuck to do with me, but no one was paying attention, and I had some extraordinary experiences on location over that, first 10 years of my life. And then the Shield happened, when I was 29, and nobody knew that it was going to be what it became.
86 episodes or something?
Yeah, 86, yeah.
Okay, so I think this is so fascinating. You had auditioned for Eastbound and Down.
Yep.
And you didn't get it.
Yeah, no.
And the feedback was,
David Gordon Green, who was a friend of mine, from the independent film circuit, I just called and said, Danny absolutely loves you, but it might be a little too dangerous for what we're doing. It might just be, it's a little too
Chaotic?
But yeah, not even chaotic. It's just like
too scary.
It's just a little scary. I said to Danny, I think I said to him, look, man, I think you need somebody to go toe to toe with you.
Yeah.
Something like
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
like,
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
I said. And then we have some friends in common. Leslie Bibb actually had New Year's Eve party, and Danny and David were there, and I was there. They're she's one of my best friends, and with Sam. And then that was kind of the beginning of a conversation.
I remember watching an interview with Todd Phillips, and I thought he said the coolest thing. He said, for me, comedy that is good has to be very dangerous.
Oh,
or it's not comedy to me. And if you
wow.
look at his work, you're like, oh yeah, they're all like, it's kind of high stakes. Everything's a little scary. I mean, you look at, The Hangover, any of these, like they go wild.
They go wild.
When they're going to jump a van, they're going to jump a fucking van.
Yeah. They're real stakes. Yeah, that's right.
So then you get to come in and do Vice Principals.
They offered it, and I was doing the Hateful Eight, and we were in Colorado, and I read it, and I think he talked about it like at this party, and I read it and thought, oh, okay, this I know what to do with, and so I just kind of did that, and it was I don't know, 3 lines into it where I think he was like, okay,
you're outrageously good in that. I couldn't believe the story of Hateful Eight, and if you would just indulge me and Monica, I think the audition for Hateful Eight is one of my favorite audition stories I've heard.
If it's the story that I think you're talking about, that was for Django.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, I'm so sorry.
Duh.
Yeah, but you get Hateful
which led
Eight.
to the Hateful Eight.
I'm sorry. That's embarrassing.
No. That's easy. I can't believe you know what you fucking know. Honestly.
But it starts with a call to Rodriguez.
So I get this script, right, like everybody else in town, and I read it on the plane to New York, and staying with a friend, and it's like it's one of the best things I've ever read in my life. He's only made 9, so it's like whatever that the repeat kind of cast. It's the golden ticket. It's a very small group of people. I just feel that way about Mike White, and the White Lotus.
Yeah.
There are a number of filmmakers that kind of have that stable of actors, and if you can kind of get in that, Christopher Guest, I mean, fucking unbelievable. But Quentin is probably by far the most kind of in my book. But so I read it, and it's like, okay, I got to get this. I don't have to get this. I just want to fucking read these words in front of this man. Yeah. And so I called Robert Rodriguez, who's a friend of mine, and they're obviously really good friends. And I said, could you, man, I've never asked you for anything. Could you please, text Quentin for me and just say that I have this guy or whatever I'd like to read. 10 minutes later, he texted back the text from Quentin, which was, I love Goggins. I love his work, and it was like, fuck, okay, well then that's it.
Did you print it
Maybe
out
it's
and
just
frame
that.
it?
It was like unbelievable.
Oh my God.
That's enough.
And then
it's more than I wanted.
Yeah, we could ever expect. Right?
Yeah.
It's always nice to live your life as if that you should be surprised if anyone has seen any fucking thing that you've done.
Yeah.
But to be seen by a hero just feels really crazy.
And
it's
then
a good
liked.
feeling. Yeah, that's
Not
right.
just seen, liked and appreciated.
And then it just happened to coincide with a really good friend of Quentin's was one of my wife's dear friends, and she called, and she said, "I just read the script, and you got to be in this movie, man. You got to meet. You're the guy. You're in.
You're
this
one
thing."
of these guys.
Yeah. And she said, like, let's have a dinner with Quentin. And so, like, and I was like, I'm the guy that's like, no, I don't want to do that. Like, I can't. Like, I don't want to. I don't ask
To
anyone
seem
for anyone.
opportunistic is
I'm
like
not
the grossest,
that fucking
right?
guy.
Same.
And you go have this dinner, talk about everything but the script, until like the very end. And I said, I think this is what you're saying. I think this is what you're saying, and how I felt. Whatever. Like 1,000 people have probably said. And he said, well, I want you to come in, and just like pick a few roles or whatever. And so I did. Started kind of reading them, and there it was. And he was like, "That's fucking great, man. That was fantastic." He's like, let's talk, or I'll be speaking to you. And I said, well, I'm not leaving. I said, what do you mean? I said, well, I'm not. I mean, I didn't come here just to read these 3 roles. Like, I don't give a fuck if I get this job, man. I just want to read your words in front of you. So I want to read all of these roles.
Wow.
I want to read Leo. I want to read Sam.
And I think it was
for
Kurt Russell. It's like, I just want to read this shit. And he's like, really? And then he said, okay, let's do it. And then he read everyone else in the scenes, like, and would like just kind of
You
move
did the
around
whole
and
movie,
he
basically.
I mean, we worked for like an hour and a half. We did a lot. I mean, like some big
That's
seminal
awesome.
scenes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I just think that, you know, like just the like unadulterated enthusiasm and love for what he puts out in the world and his words. And at the end of it, it was like, you know, fucking really good to see you, man. Can't wait for the next time.
This
And
will
he's
cross
like,
my mind
okay.
on my deathbed.
You know,
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, man.
Oh, how
and then
cool.
yeah, you get the call like, I don't know, a couple of months went by or whatever, and it's like, okay, buddy, you know, come down to New Orleans and play with us.
What if you were like, I can't. I don't want it. I just came to just do that one thing. I don't really want to be in the movie. It was
it
pure.
can't top what
Yeah.
happened. So
Yeah.
Well-
But thanks, I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
I imagine you deal with this. The characters are so fucking different. Like I may have seen Vice Principals, but if I don't follow show business, I don't realize that's the guy from Hateful Eight. They're so different. And if I fell in love with Uncle Baby Billy, I'm not putting that together with The Shield. Like
Thank you, man.
there's something,
Thanks, man.
it's almost probably a bit of an Achilles, which is like I think you deserve to be the biggest star in the world, but I think the work is so unique and different. I don't know if people are connecting the dots because now I'm a hyper fan and I didn't even think, oh, right, I got to go and watch. I went and watched Justified. I had never seen it, but I'm like, I'll go out for Goggins. Goddamn, he's great in that again.
Right.
But I watched Hateful Eight a couple months ago and I was like, in a sea of the most talented people, that's the performance in the movie. It's incredible. I can't believe you went from a smaller role in Django and then got called to the big leagues and did what you did in that movie is fucking nuts, dude.
Thank you, man.
Oh my God. It's so impressive.
Thanks, man.
I'm so happy for you that you got to go into Tarantino's world and have him trust you with that much. And then to fucking score touchdown after touchdown.
Well, look, I mean, I think maybe you feel this way. A lot of people in this business and outside of this business listen to your podcast, right? And I think for so many of us kind of coming up, I mean, we're from a different generation, but the barriers to entry, the gatekeepers to this experience, it's like every day you're not even trying to fucking get to like base camp 1 on Mount Everest. You're just like trying to get up that
Nepal.
little fucking
To the
like,
airport.
hill that you're gonna fall down. Yeah, right. Yeah, that's right. You're just trying to get a flight to fucking the airport in Nepal.
Stay tuned for more Armchair Expert, if you dare.
At that point, you really are at it's as far as you could have gone if you feel like I do about Tarantino.
It is. That's exactly how I feel. But whenever you see someone that's been around for a long time and just kind of like Rockwell or like Crudup or like, I mean, even like Garrett Dillahunt, like just all of these fucking people that have been around for like a really long time, and we've been around for a long time, and you just see like consistently kind of good work like over a long time, and it's like, oh wow. I mean, Pedro, you know, Pascal's been doing great work for such a long time, and then it's like, wow, okay, there's one for the good guys, like right. It's not there is no limit on their staying power, right?
Right.
Like this isn't
they're
like
inoculated by
this-
talent.
and wisdom,
Mhm,
right?
mhm.
And choices, and so the guys of which I'm also a fan of. I won't name any names, but you know we know them. The people that were, if you were an envious person, which I'm really not, except at other people's careers. I really don't look in other lanes. But the people in my 20s for a moment was like, fuck, I wish I could, you know. But I wouldn't trade my walk for, those 3 years and I think you probably wouldn't either. You know, I've been walking the road that I've been walking for a very long time. And
I would argue it's preferred.
Yeah,
I agree.
Me too.
When you're young, if you come out and you drop right into the World Series, it's hard to appreciate. It's hard to conceptualize. It's hard to integrate.
and
It's hard to process.
stay.
Yeah,
It's
it
hard to
is.
stay and to kind of just keep walking in the back door.
Yeah.
And then you leave and you're like, who was that guy that was that? You know,
Yeah.
it's so preferred for your life story,
I agree.
your own narrative self.
Right.
It's such the way to do it.
Yeah, I think so. You don't remember this, but the first time I met you, very first time I met you, it was nothing more of like a
Hi.
hey, but it was really just me across the room, like silently thinking like, fuck you, fuck this fucking guy.
Why?
What is
What?
True
this?
story. Because it was for an audition, and it was just the two of us in this room, and I walked in and I looked at you, and you were sitting behind this desk, and it was like a room with like chairs. It was kind of a room like they had us kind of waiting in. Maybe it was, I don't know, like a second callback or something. I don't know. But I walked in and was like, oh, this fucking guy. This fucking, I just felt like it ain't my day.
Oh, wow.
And it was,
I don't know this.
well, it was
I'm so scared.
No, Employee of the Month
Oh my God.
with Dane.
Dane.
And Dane kind of came in. I don't know if you knew him, but there was I don't remember, but there was some interaction that it was just like this easy kind of like fucking, oh, these guys are like,
that is so
impossible
funny.
to
But isn't it
believe
like-
this story.
but it was, I don't remember where it was, but I remember the room and I remember where you were sitting. And then,
No way.
Yeah. And then, seeing the movie kind of when it came out, I was like, wow, yeah, you know what? Yeah, it was his. Yeah, for sure.
That's an ego boost for you. Should be.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
I'm just, yeah. And yeah, if I were you, I would hate me.
No, I mean,
Yes! Like, what this motherfucker was on
I just
Punk'd,
felt like,
and then
no,
what
it
was he?
just like
Like,
when you
oh,
kind of
no.
walk in one and it's like, oh, well, you know what? I'm still going to have fun. And I
I
did.
want to see the version of the movie with you.
I don't know, man.
Oh my God, that's crazy. That
Funny.
just blew my mind. Okay, last thing before White Lotus is of course Righteous Gemstones.
Okay. Yeah.
Uncle Baby Billy.
Yeah.
Again, I see all your shit out of order. So I first saw Righteous,
Yeah.
and I was like, who the fuck is this guy playing Uncle Baby Billy? And Chris and I are just obsessed with the show. I'm writing emails to Danny, who I barely know, but I have to tell him after every episode.
Wow.
The pilot of that, I'm like, did Scorsese fucking direct this pilot? This is a comedy. Look at these shots.
Yeah.
Who
Yeah.
fucking Uncle Baby Billy? We fall so in love with you that we then, he was in Vice Principals, we learned. We go back. I watch Vice Principals just because I'm now on my Walton Goggins train. And I'm like, oh my God, and he's this and this. I don't really have a question other than just what I want to know.
We just finished the 4th season.
Mm-hmm.
It's really good. And I'll put this out there. I read the first episode. I can't tell you anything that it's about, but the first episode of season 4. And I will, and I'm going to go on record as saying this as a piece of writing. If I had read that in The Atlantic, I think the motherfucker would be nominated for a Pulitzer.
Wow.
Really what he's saying at this stage of his exploration in that world. And everybody obviously has a great arc and a great story. But Baby Billy will have the summer 2025 fucking hit. I'm gonna tell you right now,
Oh my
whatever you're wearing right now, come fucking June or whatever, when you're bathing suit, you will be singing this fucking song. I promise.
Oh my God.
It's good, y'all. It's really,
I can't
and
wait.
it says a lot about a lot. It's cool.
I guess my one
What a
question about Vice
character.
Principals and Righteous is, if you had to guess at a percentage, what percentage is you guys riffing and what percentage is on the page? It feels impossibly organic.
98% is on the page.
No shit.
No shit.
He's so brilliant.
That's
and
some
we,
writing.
Edie Patterson can fucking
She can,
Oh,
she can let her rip.
my
do fucking
God.
anything.
Yeah.
Adam Devine, Adams can fucking do that. Michaela Watkins can fucking do that.
Yes.
Cordry can do. It's not my thing, but I understand where the story is, and I understand. Okay, these are 5 or 6 tangents that I can go down that I believe are a part of me, and then not turn yourself over to that and see kind of where that takes you.
Yeah.
But he realized that about me very early on, that it's the words on the page that is liberating to me.
Right.
Mhm.
And then we, he carried that into Righteous Gemstones, and I think I'll work with him for the rest of my life.
If there was a career to envy, it'd be yours because you're in the Tarantino stuff. But I would say of the television shows, my favorite comedy is definitely Righteous Gemstones. I think my favorite kind of big, huge action thing is Fallout. I love that show.
Thanks, man.
And then my very favorite, both of ours, kind of social commentary,
God.
character-y deliciousness is White Lotus. These are like, you're in the 3 fucking shows that are my favorite. The 2 previous seasons have been so good. I think we all had so much anxiety when season 2 came around. Because I'm like, how on earth are they?
Yeah.
That hotel manager in season 1, like, what? Who's going to pick up that slack? And then
And
it
they
delivered.
They did it.
Yeah.
His like social commentary and what he's able to tackle, which I feel like you're not allowed to, and he does perfectly.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, just the notion last season, you had these 2 couples and these 2 are what they cheat, they're shitty, and this is the good one. And then as you're playing with it, you're like, well, I'm not sure which one I'd rather be a part of.
That's right.
Oh, here's the perfect guy who says all the right things. Why isn't she horny for him?
Yeah.
Well, we got to deal with that. That's a real thing.
Yeah.
It's so brave and awesome. So
It is, yeah. I mean, and no one writes an existential crisis the way that he does. And he uses wealth gives him permission, I think, to parody these people. And to, and to make them real simultaneously. And to say, because these situations do happen, to people outside of this very specific economic kind of section of society that he explores.
Yeah.
But yeah, and I if this is his words, not mine, if first season was about money, if the second season was about sex, this season is about religion. It was everything that I had hoped it would be. And there are so many things that happened over the course of this experience that I'm not at liberty to really talk about.
Yeah.
But
Tough
I can tell
project
you,
to promote, actually.
Yeah, it is. It's like with a lot of projects, but that one in particular, right? I think they do actually kill you. There's a body floating somewhere. But I felt like I had my own apocalypse now. Like that I was Willard in a boat going upstream to meet Captain Kurtz, which was also me.
Because of the real life or the story you were
Because of
embedded
the story, because of the story that I was telling.
Does it help that you're in Thailand for 6 months, living at the actual hotel you're working in?
Yeah, living at the hotel, and sometimes the hotel was completely bought out. So it was just us.
Yeah.
And then other times, they weren't able to do that.
Yeah.
So you're literally checking in, as an actor next to guests who you're
Are there on vacation?
They're actually there on vacation.
You're like peeking at the hotel pool going like, oh, wow, that's that character.
Yeah. It's a weird fourth wall being broken in a way.
But there is I've seen 2 episodes now, and it's really fucking good.
Oh, I cannot
and
wait.
It's similar, but it's different. And I can say that that my journey in this world, it's something that hasn't been seen or explored by Mike in other seasons.
It's a new
experience. But everyone just fucking kills it. Really.
Is it hard being there though for 6 months?
No, fuck yeah, man. I mean, I've been home 11 days this year, really. In success, it becomes harder, and that's the thing I don't think people realize really is,
because you're having to turn down now really great opportunities.
well, I mean, you're just away from home for a long time, right? It's lonely.
Yeah.
And that's what I don't think people anticipate that. It's like, oh my God, I'm getting all of these opportunities and it's incredible. But at the end of the day, you go back to, a house or your hotel room. And, you're alone, and, which I'm good at.
Yeah.
And if I'm having a problem with it, I know other people are. And I think, people experience that. Everyone went through their own crisis over the course of this experience,
which is maybe helpful for the project.
And and it's a story that kind of can induce that experience.
Exactly.
Certainly for me, and the way that I approach this way of storytelling, it was a fucking incredible experience. That was everything. It had everything in it. All of it, soup to nuts. And I can't wait for you to see it. And I can't wait to hear what you think about when you do see it.
Oh, yeah. I'm so
Maybe
excited.
we'll come back on and
do a debrief.
at the end of this thing.
When you get the call to join that cast.
It was interesting because they were doing season 2 and I didn't know Mike, but we had we have friends in common. like we all do,
Yeah.
at this point. And I remember my agent saying, well, you should write a letter to Mike, season 2. And it's like, no, man, I ain't that guy.
Yeah.
I ain't doing that. I'm just not that guy. And they didn't tell me that it was even, conversations were even happening or that it was getting close. And then I was out at dinner. I was out here. We were doing early press for Fallout. And I went out to dinner with my agents, which I hadn't seen in a while. And they said, listen, congratulations. I said, for what? And then they said, Mike wants you to do White Lotus season 3. And I just started fucking bawling. I started shaking at the table.
Really?
Because I felt like it's a world I could help him tell his story.
You were
Do you know
built
what I mean?
for White Lotus.
You really were.
Yeah.
So it's like, there's like, I suppose if, I would have felt that way if, I don't know, any other show or movie that you're excited about or filmmaker, but it's when you understand, like Quentin, I felt like I can tell his story. I know how to tell his story.
Yeah.
And I feel that, I felt that way with Mike and a few of the filmmakers that I've gotten an opportunity to work with over the course of my career. This is one of them. And it was, I walked outside and called my wife.
That's
Yeah.
amazing.
My last question to land the plane is, I also follow you on Instagram. I also know Cordry goes with you to like Greece or Italy. You guys will do like a proper summer in another country.
Mm-hmm.
It seems like your life, that you're putting as much effort into your actual life being as artistic as your work life.
Absolutely.
And I'd imagine some people might think that just happens, but I imagine you got to actually approach your life just like you do a role in something.
Wow. Never had anyone say that. Yeah. Yeah. I think that it's with intention. Right. And so this happens to be a very long stretch. We sold our home in Los Angeles and we moved across the country and we bit off a big, maybe a little bit more than we could chew. And it's like, okay, I got to go to work, even though I've never really done anything that just for the money or that I'm not proud of or that I didn't want to do. But I got offered a movie right when the strikes were kind of being talked about, and I had this trip planned, and they said, we'll offer you this amount of money, and I said, thank you, but no, thank you. And they said, okay, well, what about this amount of money? And I said, thank you, but no, thank you. They said, what would it take? I said, there is no amount of money. I'm sorry, and that may, people, your listeners or other actors may say, man, fuck that guy. You know what? I hadn't seen my kid in a long time, and I had seen my friends, and that fucking time with my kid, it means more to me than anything. We're going to do that again at the end of this year.
Yeah.
And that, if you can't, with intention, whatever you can afford. I mean, my mom did it in Panama City Beach, Florida, in a fucking tent, but it was like, that is time. And it's far too precious at this stage of the game. And it is something that you can never get back. And I have shame and remorse and regret about the time that I have been away.
Sure.
Like anyone does,
Yeah.
with their children. And yeah, it's with intention, and we're going to live the fuck out of life. Strap yourself in. Man.
Oh,
Strap yourself
Buckle the
in.
fuck up.
yeah,
Let's
we should
all
end on this.
Strap in.
let's strap in.
Thank you so much, GoDaddy Arrow.
All right, you got a
Go
Super
Daddy.
Bowl commercial. Let's just add
Hey,
that.
man.
Yeah,
Yeah, this is going
Oh,
to come out after.
shit.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Go
Yeah.
back
Whole
and watch it on
partnership.
YouTube.
Yeah,
Goggins
check it out.
Goggles has
Goggins
a Super
Goggins.
Bowl commercial.
Super
well deserved.
GoDaddy Arrow.
And hopefully people will be watching the commercial. God, you look great.
You look so
everyone looks
fucking
so
chic. You look
good.
just, you know what, if you can imagine like every day just feeling like après ski.
I love it. I'm going to wear them out.
What I'm thinking, Monica, is our longstanding debate about whether or not I could fly an airplane if the pilot went down.
Sure.
You with those goggles on?
You think
I'm
I
not
could do
sure
it?
who should be flying the airplane, you or me.
Shit. That is quite the
You
compliment.
look like a professional in any field with those bags on. Hey, you know what? What an honor, man.
Well, I'm so
What an
glad
honor
it's
for
finally-
us.
Yeah.
We've been trying to get you in for
Oh,
years.
thank you.
Yeah.
All right. Well, this is you're so generous of yourselves and so giving of your time and such great listeners. And thank you.
What a pleasure, man. Just loving you from afar. So the fact that we're sitting together is such a blast for me. I
Okay.
adore you, Walton. This
What a
has been a
joy.
blast.
What a joy.
Thank you.
Coming.
What a joy. What a joy.
an armchair expert, but he makes mistakes all the time. Thank God Monica's here. She's gonna let him have the facts.
Oh, look at our trophy.
Look at our trophy.
That's a cool trophy. Very space age.
Yeah, it's meant to be hung.
Okay.
It has this at the bottom. I guess it looks like a quotation above someone's head.
It does.
I'm holding up a square Armchair Expert with Dax Shepard Spotify 500 million streams plaque we were awarded. Gold status, I was
trophy.
told. Gold status. I need to start this fact check by saying my most deepest thank you. I've never been more grateful than last night. I was asked to be one of Bill's 10 or 11 stops on his book tour.
Yeah, awesome.
And it was at a live event, the Carmier, I don't know, some beautiful theater
Ooh. Where?
in San Francisco.
Oh, nice.
Yes.
Sorry if you already said that.
No, I don't think I did.
Okay.
For the listener, I didn't say that. Okay. It's not our show, right?
Yeah.
It's not handheld mics. I can't go out and ahead of time and warm everything up and then bring Bill out. There's like a whole thing, you know, it's their show.
Right.
And there'll be a video and another woman introduce us for a while. And then we sit down. I'm in the wrong side. Suffice to say, it just wasn't like one of our shows.
Sure.
So I guess they gave me not a ton. I'm not going to exaggerate. Maybe like 20% nerves.
Of course. It's different.
And it's like, I don't know if it's all people there to see Bill Gates and they're learning who I am and they don't understand I'm going to have a sense of humor, whatever. All this to say, soon as we sat down, I said, are there any armchairs here? And Monty,
they loved
the
it.
whole place was armchairs.
Oh, that's so
and I
sweet.
immediately felt so comfortable and confident and relaxed.
That's awesome.
And I was so grateful. I couldn't believe how grateful I was. I was like, fucking armchairs,
We love 'em.
show up.
They really do show up.
Yeah. And you know, I had my whole family,
Yes. Your
Yes.
original family.
the OF.
Yeah. Your sister, your brother, and your mom.
That's right. The original crew.
Yeah.
The original four.
Yeah.
The Fab Four.
Was that lovely?
It was lovely. Yeah. And they got to meet Bill for a while.
Yeah.
And my brother has been obsessed with Bill since he was a kid.
Really?
Oh, yeah. Because my brother was very into computers.
I didn't know that.
Yes.
Oh, how special.
Obsessed with Bill Gates his whole life.
Okay.
Even when I was talking to him before the event, I was saying like, oh my God, you got to read the book. It's so funny. There are so many funny stories in this book about him being 13 and showing up places with a briefcase and business suits on and making products. And the whole thing is it sounds like a cartoon.
Yeah.
And he was like, oh yeah, my favorite thing is that his mom said, what are you doing in here in his bedroom? And he said, I'm thinking you should try it.
Oh,
and my brother just
God.
knew all this stuff I had just learned in the book that he somehow had already known.
course.
Anywho, they got to chat for quite a long time. And it was a very special experience for my brother.
That's great.
And yeah, it was sweet. And then yesterday, we gave it to San Francisco straight up the hiney. In 4 hours, we saw that whole city, Monica.
Nice.
We saw Alcatraz. We saw the Golden Gate Bridge, the Bay Bridge. We went through Chinatown. We went through North Beach. We went to Lombard Street. We got on the trolley and rode the full loop of the trolley.
Wow.
Hanging out the side, Monica.
So is that something you
Rice-A-Roni.
do with your original family? Because I don't think you do that with your
I wouldn't
current
do
family.
it. No, my brother had never been to San Francisco,
Yeah.
shockingly. But so, yeah, seeing Alcatraz and all that stuff, the Golden Gate Bridge, it's all very exciting. Trolley, Rice-A-Roni, the San Francisco Tree.
Full House, Ding Ding Ding,
Full House,
Olsen's.
Lombard Street. Do you know Lombard Street?
I've heard. I don't know.
It's the one that's really twisty that goes down the extremely steep. And when my brother and I were children, there was a show called You Can't Do This on Television. No, that's Nickelodeon. It was called That's Incredible.
Ooh.
Doug DeMocus, the wheelie king, rode a dirt bike, a wheelie, down Lombard Street.
Oh.
Never putting it down. Rode over cars on a wheelie.
Oh, that sounds bad.
It was a very memorable, seminal moment on television for us. And so to be on Lombard where our hero Doug DeMocus had done that sweet wheelie. And then some armchairs were in a 1960s VW microbus coming down Lombard Street and started hollering out the window.
Sometimes people shout out the window in their armchairs. This happens.
Yeah.
And I just want to say to anyone who does that to me, which has happened a few times, don't think I'm a bitch if
you get shook a little bit.
Yeah, or my first reaction is like really like
twist eye rolly.
Not eye rolly, like don't
hurt me.
Yeah, don't hurt me. Okay. Don't hurt me.
Don't hurt me, please.
Or I look scared and angry. That's just my reaction.
But then
as
you
a
let
woman.
you let it in.
But then they say like, I'm listening, or I listen, or I'm gonna whatever, and then I
stopped listening. Or they
I don't like it anymore. What happened?
He yelled out.
Should have never done video. Yeah, recently a guy did that. He honked, and then I looked over with a mean face, and then he pointed. He was listening at that moment. He like raised the volume, and that was exciting. But
I got scared
I'm
when
also
you thought
sorry.
when you just pointed. It looked like he was pointing at his crotch, but it was obvious it was the
An armchair would
dashboard.
never do that.
I know he wouldn't, but I'm saying
God.
it was clear that he was pointing to his stereo.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Because when you just did it, it wasn't clear.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. Anyway, so go on. Lombard
Continue
Street.
in Lombard Street, Chinatown, little
Grape Bridge.
Italy, Golden Gate Alcatraz. That fucking trolley made us so happy. The cable card,
Fun.
because that's really
Classic.
I just said the cable card.
Oh,
The cable car.
It didn't read.
You know, I just think it's nuts. There's a cable running under the street.
It is
that they put in 1870. That's
Still
just
going.
going in a circle. Also had some great meals.
Ooh.
Really great meals.
San Francisco has great cuisine.
Oh my goodness. In fact, one of these places, if you're there, I insist you go, called Cavalier. It's done up. It's a bar, restaurant, tavern, and it's done as an English hunting lodge. And the decor really works for me.
For everyone.
It
There's
does
a
work for everyone,
reason
right?
aesthetics are important. I guess I should admit something really gross.
Okay. Distasteful.
Yeah, just bad. But since we are honest here, when you started your fact check about wanting to say thank you, I thought you were saying thank you to me.
Oh, I can thank you as well.
Because I thought where the story was going was that
it's so much easier together.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's true. That's totally true. I should have said that. Now I'm sad I didn't say that.
No.
Yeah. I always walk out with you.
Yeah.
So to two, I mean, if we eat a big turd together, it'll be together.
Right. I thought maybe that's what was coming. And then I thought, oh, it's not, maybe it's a different thank you also to me because.
Because what? Because what was the second reason? I'll probably agree with it too.
Because you were gone and you, as you said, you took your sweet sister. Who runs this household. Keeps it in check.
Yes.
And Kristen was at a table read yesterday. I don't know if I'm allowed to say that, but
I think it came out.
Yeah, it's been announced.
For the show?
Yeah, season 2.
Bill inquired about it.
Because he's a dad. So
he's a dad. I tried to explain that to him. He didn't understand that why
Sure.
that's why he liked it.
Yeah,
but
it's hard to explain that to people. But anyway, so she was at a table read. So she was at Fox. So she was far away, and Anna was with her.
Yeah.
And Lincoln had a tummy ache.
Oh no! So did you have to
school.
rescue her?
So I went to pick her up.
Was that your first time at that school?
Yes, and
isn't it beautiful?
First of all, it's beautiful. We won't say what it is.
No,
even though you probably already have on here.
I haven't.
But it's beautiful. But I was lost.
Yep.
It's like big.
It's like a mini UCLA.
There's a campus. And I was lost, and I kept having to ask like teens.
But they're so confident. I think the first thing is you're like, wow, this is a really pretty campus.
Yeah.
That quickly pales in comparison to how palpable the confidence is of all those gals running around.
Yeah.
They're living out loud.
But yeah, so I kept having to ask all these teens. One teen really was like, the middle school's over there. Like she was mad at me.
Middle school, yeah.
And I was like, I'm cool. Like I have a podcast. Do you listen to podcasts? I must have stopped 3 different people and I could not figure it out. But I eventually.
I never got her.
She's still there.
Did she get home?
And then, she picked me up.
She swung by on her motorcycle and grabbed me because I was lost.
But it was so cute. And she said, "Oh, I thought you would be in San Francisco or whatever. I thought you'd be with Dad." And I said, "Oh no, it's just Dad." And she was like, He kicked you out?"
Oh, Jesus.
And I said, "No, that's not really how it works."
No benefit of the doubt there.
Yeah, no.
She went straight tight, kicked you out.
She did. And I said, "Yeah, you should punch him." I didn't want to tell her that her appendix might explode and that's what was maybe going on.
Yeah, sure. That was your first, though.
That was my instinct. So I stuck around in case it didn't explode.
It didn't.
It didn't.
Did she have a poop and then feel
Probably.
better?
I didn't ask.
Yeah, I'll find out tonight.
Okay.
My first
Too
question.
involved about the poops.
Did you get that thing out? Did you get it? I have one really special moment. Before this show, they said, we want to do a viral video with them. And I was like, of course. So we played this game.
Heads up.
And then what's funny is it was tests on things from the book.
Oh.
But they put in Catcher in the Rye, which wasn't in the book.
Okay.
But he said something and then I got it. It was on my head.
Yeah.
And he goes, "Was that in the book?" And I go, "I don't think that was in the book. Is that one of your favorite books?" And he goes, "Oh, yeah." And I go, "Oh, it's my absolute favorite book." And then we talk for 2 seconds and I go, "Is that why you named your daughter Phoebe?" And he goes, "Yeah."
Oh, cute.
And I go, from the second I read that book, I was like, if I have a daughter, it's going to be Phoebe. And it felt very connected. I really liked it. I had the same exact.
Wow.
Kadams and I had that bonding moment too.
Aww.
I think a handful of men have named their daughters Phoebe because they fell in love with that character.
You know you didn't do that, right?
Is that not my firstborn's name?
I'm so sorry to tell you.
Maybe.
So sorry.
Yeah. Well, that's because we thought we were having a boy, if you recall.
Sure.
Now,
you have another.
Delta could have ended up being a Phoebe.
Yeah, she would have been such a good Phoebe.
Yes, she would have.
That name really would have worked for her.
It would. Although Delta really works pretty good for her,
of course.
too. Yeah.
I can't imagine. Yeah. Maybe if I have one, I'll name it Phoebe.
That's a ding, ding, ding. People have been pointing out in the comments that my new over-indexing is Delta.
Oh.
Which is 100% true.
Yeah.
Not Delta, my daughter.
Oh.
The distance between two things.
Oh.
The gap. Yeah. When I talk about, I'll say Delta and people are really noticing it. And I'm guilty as charged.
Okay.
Yeah. I love it. It's very efficient.
It is.
Instead of saying the difference between or a gap between.
Yeah, actually, I guess you do that.
I do it a lot. Huh. Yeah. I really got it from Formula One. They use Delta a lot in Formula One. What did you do while I was gone? Other than get lost at Lincoln
on
School.
Campus.
Yeah.
Oh, there's just something about being at school.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah.
I went to In-N-Out this weekend.
You did?
Yeah.
You got animal style fries and a what? A single?
And I got I'm
gonna blow my nose.
Okay.
Sorry.
That's okay.
Have
you blown today?
I've lost some progress.
Oh, all right.
But it hasn't returned to the insanity, but it's also.
Okay. Did you slip up on your trip?
With blowing?
Yeah.
Probably. Yeah.
Hotel room.
Well, I bring tissues over to the bed every night to have them ready. And then when they're there, then I kind of got to use them.
Sure.
But I can't risk that I will make it without blowing my nose and have to get up. There's a lot of stuff to consider.
I know. Did anything else interesting happen this week? Oh, my God, Super Bowl.
Oh, That would be crazy. What was your favorite commercial?
The Nike women's commercial.
That was awesome.
I love
Playing
that.
Led Zeppelin.
Oh, I bought the shirt.
Oh, God.
Yeah,
that was a
obviously.
very cool commercial.
Mm-hmm.
That was probably the best. But man, I love Willem Dafoe.
I do too.
I mean, he's
with
just
Catherine O'Hara.
I know.
That was a good pairing.
But he's just
Friend of the pod. Go check out his episode.
He's so unique. What a gift he is.
He is.
He's a blessing.
Love him.
Yeah. I loved that.
He's a blessing.
He is.
Yeah, that was good.
He's like in a Wes Anderson movie, even if he's in a commercial.
That was great. I couldn't hear all of them.
Yeah, I didn't see most of them. I started it an hour and a half late.
Oh, you did?
I did.
Wow.
Yeah, and then fast forwarded through everything to catch up.
Okay.
Not needing to catch up as it turned out because nothing changed.
Yeah, but the only thing I cared about really delivered, which was
commercial.
the halftime show.
Oh, the halftime show.
Oh my God.
I loved it, but I definitely thought his mic was too low. I was having the hardest time hearing him like the first 4 songs.
Well, we couldn't hear, but it was
a bad mix.
It was the TV, no, because when I watched it on YouTube, I could hear everything.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you should watch it on YouTube.
I wonder if on YouTube they cleaned that up a bit.
Oh, maybe.
But on the broadcast, I was like, his vocals need to be way up. Just
Well,
barely
you should
hearing
watch
the
it
words.
on YouTube.
Yeah.
I thought it was so good and so well done and so smart, as he is, all of those things. I don't know. I just thought it was so powerful. I loved it. And there's all these like I love hidden things.
Okay, what were some of the
I love
Heidi's?
clues.
Yeah, what was in there?
Well, did you realize these probably aren't clues. They're probably obvious, but stage was a PlayStation because the whole thing is like the game. So he's like playing this game with Drake. Also, when Samuel L. Jackson is out there, it's kind of.
I thought he was incredible.
Uncle Sam.
Oh my God, he was so incredible. That's a hard lift. He's got to pop in and out. Perfect timing.
I know.
Finish before he's got to start. That was complicated.
Yeah.
And he was great.
He was perfect. But yeah.
He was almost more Kendrick Lamar than Kendrick Lamar.
No, don't say
that.
I'll cut that.
No.
Oh my God, no.
Sam Jackson's like the original Kendrick Lamar.
Well,
I'm sure that's why he was there.
Yeah, he of course is iconic.
Mm-hmm.
But
they have the same vibe and spirit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the message
no tap dancing.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah. It's really
We're not
cool.
playing this game. Yeah, that was great. Serena.
Yeah.
You didn't see that? You have to rewatch
Serena
this. Williams.
She sang?
She came out and was crip dancing.
Oh, I didn't see that. I thought you were saying the female singer was Serena.
No, that's SZA. She's huge.
I was like, I think you got close, but I don't think it's Serena.
I know what I'm talking about.
I know you know more than I do. For sure. I didn't see Serena crib walking.
You definitely need to rewatch.
Okay. I had it very loud. And I got goosebumps several times.
When it's the American flag and he's standing in the middle of it and they're all of the dancers in the arrangement are black. Just so powerful.
Yeah, it's really powerful.
It was. It really was. I love him. I want him to come on this show so badly.
Yes, me too. I had to get brought up to speed by Tim Lovestead
about the beef.
I
told you a little bit about the beef.
I know about the pedophile part.
Yeah.
I know about the lawsuits.
Yeah.
I didn't know that he called Drake a colonizer. I didn't know that
That's
whole aspect.
in the song. Yeah.
Yeah, and that Drake had accused him of making slave music. Did you know that part?
No, but I know Drake. So I guess there was this huge
and Drake
weekend.
is rich. I heard
Drake is rich.
Was grew up rich. I heard.
Oh yeah, he's from Canada. Drake is.
I have zero opinion on Drake. I just want to say that out loud.
Me too.
I have zero feelings.
I have zero feelings about Drake, except apparently, and there's a daily on this.
Oh, there is. Okay.
Drake likes these beefs. Like he starts them. It's part of.
They're good for business.
Sure.
Yeah.
But this one really got out from under him. And Kendrick isn't really ever the type to get involved in these types of things. He's kind of like, which Drake also calls out,
he's
like,
involved
you
with
think you're so.
Few beefs.
Kendrick?
Yeah. He's also in a beef with Andrew Schultz.
Oh.
Did you not see that?
Oh, interesting.
Oh, yeah.
Really?
And Andrew did not at all kowtow. He just went straight to war with them. And
what is that
crazy.
beef?
We'll have to watch all the videos. He has a line about don't let a white comedian make fun of our women or something.
Oh.
And then and it's believed that he's referencing Andrew. And Andrew then comes out and says he's just not terribly worried about Kendrick, and his attack back is like, oh, here's the dudes you've supported who have raped women and who have beaten women. I don't think I'm your dude. So that was his pushback, and
boy.
got saucy.
Well,
And I thought, boy, Andrew, you're pissing off.
that's so stupid of
A
him.
very, very diehard fan base. But he's got at least those two going. But back to Drake.
Yeah, okay. But in the hip hop world, he doesn't really do this because he kind of was. Drake says it too. Like you think you're so great. You think you're this like poet.
Yeah.
Which he is.
Yeah.
Anywho, Drake is rich and very popular and like, blends. He's not straight up hip hop.
Oh, right. Okay. Yeah.
It's more poppy mixed with hip hop.
Dance.
Exactly.
Yeah, club music.
Yeah. So people think he's a phony.
I found myself with that tension of loving a good fuck you song and then knowing the better part of myself doesn't like this.
Yeah, me too. But I in this case, I don't care.
You went for it. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm getting charged up by this.
Yes.
And obviously that's not my aim in life, is
Same.
to like be pumped when someone else is telling another person to fuck off.
Me either.
Effectively.
Well, okay, I agree.
Unless there's a huge class distinction, of course, then I do enjoy it. But regardless.
Yeah, I am with you. I don't like enjoy
a beef,
diss track or a beef. I've never been into a beef before.
Right. This is your first beef.
This is my first foray into beefs.
The world of beefs.
But now that I listen to The Daily and I know how many, so it was like this big weekend, I guess, where they were like back and forth. They kept putting out songs in retaliation to one another. At the end, in the audience, after the halftime show, it says game over.
Right.
Because he won.
Right.
And he did win. That song, his diss track won 5 Grammys.
Right.
Like, sorry, I feel bad. I actually do feel kind of bad for Drake, but he did start it.
I don't even know.
He started it according to The Daily.
Okay. All right. I'm nervous. I don't want to be on either side of it.
Why?
Because I don't want to join a team when half the other people hate the team. I don't want to be on a team that's hated by half of people. It's not my desire in life.
I know.
If I care deeply about this feud between Drake and Kendrick, I might, but I don't care at all. These are both very rich, talented dudes. I don't think there's an oppressed person in this.
Well, I think. Yeah. I mean, they did come from very different backgrounds. Like, it'd be like you who came from a certain background, you probably feel like you have more of an entitlement to talk about that and rap about that than somebody who didn't experience it.
Mm-hmm. But again, I don't even know enough about Drake. Is he rapping about the hood?
He raps about bling.
Okay. Since we're talking about pop culture, which we rarely do, and I tend to, for whatever reason, be allergic to. Do you know the Kanye thing?
Yes.
So step one was arriving at the Grammys uninvited with the wife who was then naked. Mm-hmm. Okay, that was event number one. Mm-hmm. And then he paid for his own Super Bowl commercial.
Yep.
Yes.
Which directed people to go to his website.
Go to Yeezy.com.
Yeah.
And if you went to Yeezy.com, there was a single item for sale, and it was a shirt with a swastika on it.
Yep.
I mean, this is absolutely mad as conceivable.
This is horrible.
I'm dying to know.
It's so bad.
I'm dying to hear his thought process. I'm just dying to understand how he got himself to a point where he paid for a Super Bowl commercial.
He hates Jewish people. He says it. It's not, we don't have to read through the lines. The fact that that's not illegal, although now I guess there's talk about the NFL maybe suing him because when he did the commercial, that wasn't up. He had real items on his site until the next day he changed it. Yeah. So I guess there is some conversation about him being sued for that, but I don't. It's
what I want to know.
So embarrassing.
What I want to know, to be clear, is the same thing I wanted to talk to Roseanne about. He knows this is a very damaging move.
I don't know.
It's like
I don't know what
it's
he
like
knows and
passing
what
a
he
point of
doesn't know.
no return.
It's been like that though. He keeps doing stuff like this.
Yeah, I
over
mean, they're
and over and
escalating
over.
in severity. He wasn't previously, to my knowledge, selling swastika shirts. as
No,
a
but he
business.
was saying openly he hates Jewish people and
He's like he's getting close to being a neo-Nazi.
Close.
He's a okay,
He
right.
is 100%.
He's a black neo-Nazi.
yes, he is.
Now, how does a rational, at one time seemingly savvy
Maybe.
and rational person end up here? Other than just the obvious bipolar.
Yeah, he's bipolar. But
Yeah.
yes, as I was reading something today, like that's for people who are like, well, he's bipolar, which he is.
Yeah.
95% of bipolar people aren't hate filled. They're not using it to hurt people.
Yeah. And if you found out Hitler was bipolar, you wouldn't go like, oh,
that makes
okay.
sense. Yeah.
I have a whole theory I'm not entitled to have about Roseanne, which is I think the racism aside, it was racist. I acknowledge it. But that's just one of many historic things she has done at the height of her popularity to really alienate everyone and test whether they love her.
Yeah.
Like the famous
Well, that's you. That's you deciding and test what. Like that's you being very introspective and saying you think it's because deep down she's testing whether.
Yeah, I think
they'll love her.
when she sang the national anthem intentionally poorly and annoyingly, and she pissed everyone off, and it's like the patriotism flared up, and she's brilliant. So she's too smart to not know that wasn't a good move. So then I wonder, what story is she confirming by doing this thing? Like, well, how could she, as smart as she was, convince herself that I'm going to do this? And I think it's this, you don't believe all these people that love you really love you. And then your brain comes up with this bizarre test of that.
Yeah.
To find out, to confirm you're right, basically, that no one really loves you. They love this fake version of you they see on TV or hear in music. I have to believe that's going on with Kanye.
I don't think so.
You don't think so?
I appreciate that you really give people, and I don't think you're giving him the benefit of the doubt, but like, I think
a bunch of things have gone terribly wrong in his life that he's the author of, no question.
yeah, he creates chaos. And I think you and probably many people feel like there's a empathetic reason behind that.
Well, I just think there's a reason other than that Kanye West was born evil, and now we're seeing it, and he hid it for 40
But
years.
do you think, but you don't think anyone's born evil, and I don't either. But I think people become. I do think there are people in this world who become irredeemable. They become so driven to chaos and destruction and.
I'm not making an argument that he should be redeemed.
No, I would hope. Yeah, no.
I'm not making an argument that people who have committed crimes should not go sit in prison. But I am working with an assumption that something happened to them that now resulted in this. I think there are serial killers, and I think there's narcissists, and I think there's sociopaths who enjoy, and there are sadists who like to hurt things. I know those people exist.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of non-mental pathology people do really weird stuff that I'm quite curious why they would ruin their lives in this way. Like, this is a person who's ruined their life.
Oh, yeah. But over and over, like, it's not, keeps doing it. He keeps causing harm.
Does it seem like a tragedy to you? Because it seems like a tragedy to me.
It seems like a waste to me.
Yeah.
But I don't think of it as a tragedy. I think what he's doing to people, I think causing this kind of fear and instability and across the board, even when he like goes up and steals the thing from Taylor, it's mean, it's bad. I'm also of the belief that a lot of that type specifically thrives off oxygen. And so I don't really want to give him any ever. Like I think he's disgusting, and I don't want to talk about him really. I mean, this is a fine conversation, but everyone's, of course, like posting about it. And there was another shirt made in retaliation, which I think is awesome. That is what he wants. He wants chaos. He wants a reaction. He wants people to be scared and be angry. And I don't want to play.
Right.
Like, bye, just go away.
Yeah.
Stay tuned for more Armchair Expert, if you dare.
Do you think he's sold any?
I don't know. Well, it's gone now.
Oh, it is?
Yeah, Shopify took it down.
Okay. Let's just say it's a historic public meltdown for the ages. I mean, this is one of the most bizarre things.
But it's not that bizarre because it's been such a long, he's been escalating to this for so long.
I mean, there was a period where he was just writing incredible music.
A long time
ago. Came up with some of the greatest Jay-Z songs with him. Like, there was some period where he was just a volcano of incredible creativity.
He was. But we also don't know who he was back then. Like,
no, when I watched the doc about him before he got really crazy, what I saw is a guy who had some very deep social challenges his whole life. I think he's been very atypical as a person.
I think so too.
You know what part of the problem is? I can admit.
Mm-hmm.
I so can't relate to hating Jewish people. It seems like the dumbest thing to me.
Yeah.
And so it's so cuckoo that I wonder, how does one get themselves there?
I hear you. And that's me too. I'm like, I don't even understand this.
Right.
But 6 million of them were killed because someone didn't like them. One person who created such a massive revolution that like 6 million of them were killed. So it sounds cuckoo, and then that is also reality we're living in.
There's a huge history of it. Even before they killed them, they weren't allowed to participate in most of the economy.
Yeah, I think
they've been very poorly treated for hundreds and hundreds of years.
Yeah, there's an underestimation of making a group the scapegoat of a problem.
Yeah. And
how really bad that can get.
When you have poor white people living in the same city with poor black people and poor Latinos, we see the lack of resources and the competition that's definitely going to file into these in-groups. It's kind of quite predictable. Like, it's a bunch of people in scarcity blaming one another for their scarcity. Makes a lot of sense. I'm not even sure where you're interacting in that circle. Like, you're not thinking Jewish people have taken your jobs. You're not thinking like all these other things that perpetuate that kind of inner city poor stereotyping and racism.
Yeah.
It's just like they're not going to jail a lot. There's not like, I'm not even sure. They're
they control the media. There's narratives. I mean, they're ridiculous, but there are narratives that get built about. That's why I'm so allergic to any stereotype, whether it's good or bad, because you don't know
what the good ones.
No, because it's
I like the good ones.
As soon as you start doing massive generalizations,
Indians
it's
have really great hair.
No, only me.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just. It is. I've been not really paying on purpose too much attention to what has been going on in the world. It does feel a little irresponsible. Like, I'm trying to figure out the line of complete ignoring and keeping my sanity.
Yeah.
I haven't really found it yet, so I'm sort of not partaking at all. But yeah, things make your way to you, and it is scary. I mean, it's just that, and then to circle back to a little bit is, oh my God, it's so crazy. He put this T-shirt up. It's not that crazy because permission has been granted by our most elite in charge to say whatever the fuck you want to say, to do whatever the fuck you want to do. Elon is doing a Hail Hitler that was at our United States inauguration. So, I'm just saying, like, it's not out of nowhere that someone crazy like that is going to feel like, well, now is the time I can put my t-shirt up. Okay. Well, speaking of stereotypes.
Yeah.
Walton.
Oh, Walton Goggins.
Shout out to Georgia Southern, a school near where I grew up.
How far? 60 miles?
Oh, I don't know about miles.
Probably further because Atlanta's really in the middle. So if it's called Southern, it's got to be closer to Florida, no?
No, it's in
the Georgia, the Atlanta area?
Well, it's in Georgia.
Right. But is it in Southern Georgia?
Yeah.
Okay. Closer to Florida.
I guess.
I would imagine.
I've never thought of it as closer to Florida, but yeah.
That's to the south of you.
Let's find out how far it is from my parents' house.
Great.
I'm going to use maps for that.
Okay, good.
Okay. It's 3 hours and 28 minutes.
Okay. So more than 60 miles. 150, 160?
Yeah.
180?
It's 231 miles.
Whoa, that's very far.
Wow. From my parents.
From your parents. So it must really be on that border.
It's
Florida
here.
almost.
It's here. And that's Savannah on the coast there.
Okay, so it's a bit east and south from
Okay.
Atlanta.
So
but
it's-
yeah, it's pretty close to Jacksonville, yeah.
Yeah, not too far.
Not too bad.
Not too far.
You could be there for a lunch appointment if you had to.
Oh, wow.
Get some fresh oranges.
I had a lot of friends who went there.
Did you guys would drive to Disney World, obviously, right?
Yeah.
You're very close.
Yeah, we would.
Or we about
8
6
hours.
Okay. At the speed your father drove.
It was 8 hours.
I think I could do it in 5.
Let me put it in. Disney World. 6 hours, 55 minutes.
Okay.
472 miles.
Okay. I'm sure you guys had to stop. I know what it's like.
Yeah, we had to stop
We couldn't go more than 60 damn miles this summer in Europe.
Okay, tortuga. Yes, Spanish word for turtle.
Well, what's a great word.
It is.
Yeah.
His earliest memories are in Decatur. My mom worked at Decatur Federal Bank.
For
That
how
was
long?
one of her first jobs.
Okay. How long did she serve? I thank her for her service too.
Me too.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Okay.
Okay, an annulment.
Yes. How does an annulment work?
Okay. An annulment is a legal ruling that ends a marriage by declaring it invalid. It makes the marriage null and void as if it never happened. Here are the criteria. Fraud,
Mm,
if one spouse tricked the other into marriage.
yeah.
Coercion, if one spouse was forced into the marriage.
Okay.
Mental incapacity, that's really bad.
Hard to
That's
prove.
ding, ding, ding. Kanye's wife.
Oh, okay.
They could get an annulment. If one spouse was not mentally capable of marrying. Physical inability, if one spouse is unable to consummate the marriage.
Yes.
This is interesting.
Yeah, you were against this and I was for this.
I know, I'm against it.
Because you can't, if someone marries you
Yeah.
and they can't perform sex with you, you needed to say that ahead of time because you can't just surprise someone
Well, but
and say, guess what? Sex won't be a part of this marriage. You can go, well, then that's obviously the understanding was there would be sex.
what if you are married, you're having sex,
Yeah.
and then
It's been consummated.
yeah, it has been consummated.
Yeah.
Oh, is consummate just the first time?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, so it's not like then in 2 months.
So you get married and a year later, you still haven't had sex.
Well, what if you have sex and then you stop being able to? Some men have that issue.
Right.
So then can you annul after like a year and a
so
half?
it sounds like consummated is a very operative word.
Okay.
In this. Yeah. So it sounds like never had sex.
Okay. That's fair.
You need to tell someone up front about that.
What if you don't know? What if you've had sex with other people and then for some reason with this person you just can't
You should get your
perform?
marriage annulled and find a partner you can have sex with. That's my suggestion there
Okay.
for both parties.
What about if
Fraud. There was fraud. Fraud was listed in the divorce, in the annulment with Kenny Chesney
Renee Zellweger.
and Renee Zellweger.
But what happened?
I know. That's the great curiosity. What was fraudulent about what he was
Exactly.
promising?
Or her?
I think she cited fraud,
Oh,
if memory serves me.
okay.
This has been a very
Gossipy.
extra Inside Hollywood edition.
Yeah. Incest if the marriage between people who are too closely related by blood, I agree with that one.
Cousins, though?
I agree.
Wait, you don't think cousins can get married?
No.
Oh, you don't? That one's very loosey-goosey.
What?
Yeah. We had an
Dax?
expert on that had a whole chapter about incest and is going through the world. And it's very rare for a culture to have forbid cousins to get married. It's very common everywhere.
No. Cousins? You mean like second and third and fourth?
I don't want to marry any of my cousins.
Right.
But I could also imagine never even meeting your cousin.
I haven't met some of mine, but I don't want to marry them.
What if you met them and you meet them for the first time at 37?
Yeah.
And they're gorgeous.
Great.
Let's get married.
Great.
Right?
Meet me at the chapel.
Yeah.
No, that's so
This is a Jonathan Haidt thing.
Cyclopses.
No, so that's a little exaggerated.
Well,
it's not between siblings, but
It still can when it's too close, it's not good.
yeah, but
That's science.
this was a part of the
book you can't
chapter.
remember?
I want to say it might have been Paul Bloom the last time I read
okay.
his thing. I think it's been a little exaggerated, the genetic risk of cousins. I don't want to be with my cousins, but I don't think I care if other cousins are together.
Really?
I don't think I do. I have to make myself care. I don't.
I guess people can do what they want.
I mean, it's very common throughout the world.
As
It's
you
almost
said.
preferred.
No, it's
Yeah, a lot of
not.
places it's preferred.
No, it's not. Okay, bigamy. If one spouse was already married to someone else,
Yeah,
that feels fair.
Yeah.
Bigamy is the only one we can come together on. That's
You and I?
sad. Yeah.
Well,
No, mental incapacity, right? And physical.
Yeah, we don't. And coercion.
And coercion and
what
fraud.
one don't we? It's just consummation.
Incest.
And cousins.
Consummation. Because, consummation is physical. Yeah. I know. I'm on the fence about that
I can't
one.
believe you're on the fence about that.
What
Why
if-
get
okay,
married? Be
okay,
friends.
What if you're in, because love is more than sex and friends.
No, sexual love is romantic love, and you get married. And then you have friendships that are loving and supportive. You could be roommates. That's great. But entering into the romantic bond of marriage with no attraction to the person or interest in it being sexual with them, I think is a deal breaker. That's a total deal breaker. No, hold on. I want to be very clear. If you're asexual, I honor that. And you said to the person, I'm asexual. I don't ever want to have sex.
Yeah.
Great. And that person's like, cool, I don't either. Go crazy.
Right. But no,
But you really need to declare that.
Okay.
That can't be a surprise.
Okay. I want to pivot this a little bit. You put sexual love and romantic love in the same bucket. You call that the same
Those are
bucket,
synonymous,
right?
yes.
For you, those are synonymous.
Yes.
That's interesting.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
You think that's
I
novel?
think there are three buckets. I think
Okay.
there's sexual attraction,
Okay.
romantic love, and then friendship love.
Why would romantic love be different than the sexual bucket?
Because
Who would you be romantically in love with that you didn't want to have sex with? You would just be in love with them as a friend.
no, like I think maybe this is gendered, but I think for a lot of women, not me because I'm not married, but I could see this. I could see over time being less sexually attracted. I mean, this happens in every marriage,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
You
yeah,
become
yeah,
like
yeah.
less sexually attracted
Yeah.
to your marriage partner.
Yeah.
But you're still romantically in love with them. You love them in a way you don't love your friends.
Yes, but you had a sexual relationship that has slowed down, as opposed to you were never intending to have a sexual relationship, and sex was never going to be a part of this.
I guess I'm just saying, to me, they're three buckets. They're not like loving someone romantically or loving a partner apart from sex is a different kind of love and care and then a love for a friend. For me, for you, no, this is kind of interesting.
Yeah, I think I'm either I want a romantic love with a woman or I want a friendship love with them. There's no third bucket for me. And considering love, sure, there's people I would love to have sex with
Right.
that I would not want to hang out with, which is kind of gendered, generally speaking. But yeah, there's no one that I would want a romantic relationship with that I wouldn't want to have sex with. Wouldn't happen.
Right.
Then they would just be a friend. And I wouldn't marry them.
Yeah.
You want to marry a friend
No.
and have no sex.
No, I did not.
And not justify an annulment if they ask for it.
I did not say that. I didn't say that. I just think romantic love is different than sexual attraction. Obviously, you want both in your husband.
Like romantic
or
love
wife.
is wanting to kiss the person's lips.
Yeah, that's fun.
Yeah, that's the same thing as sexual attraction.
But
those aren't different things to me.
But over time,
like there's no one I want to kiss really bad, but then don't want to have sex with. If I want to kiss them and I love them.
but like over time in the not to get too personal, but like every time you kiss Kristen, you want to have sex with her? Like, no, like it's
no, but I would like
intimacy.
to have sex with Kristen.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
And if I didn't want to have sex with her, that would be an issue.
But if you didn't want to have sex, let's say like now, after so many years, you stopped really wanting to have sex with her, but you would still love her romantically in a way that is different than how you love.
Yeah, I think comparing something 20 years out and week one, no one's getting a marriage annulled after 20 years. I'm talking, you marry someone, it is revealed to you they have no intention to have a sexual relationship with you. I think you're definitely entitled to get out of that marriage. No problem.
I mean, I guess I agree.
It's false advertisement.
Well, also it's on you. Why haven't you asked about their sexual appetites before you married them?
Well, I think you have said, I can't wait to be married. I can't wait for our first night. I'm
then
sure.
That's fraud.
And then the person didn't go, there's not going to be a first night, just so you know. Because I don't want to have sex with you because I'm not romantically attracted to you.
What if they want to really bad, but they just can't?
Meaning they can't get an erection?
Yeah.
Again, if you are not able to ever get an erection and have sex with your wife, then I think your wife's entitled to be with someone who can. I am sorry. It's already a bummer for you. It shouldn't also be a bummer for that person.
Okay, what if a couple was waiting to have sex until they got married?
Yeah.
And then they both were really horny. He could get it up.
Yeah.
She could get it in.
Yeah.
But then on the night of the wedding, his dick gets cut off by a stranger. A robber comes in and he starts attacking, and the robber cuts his dick off and leaves.
It's still not fraud because you didn't false advertise.
Right.
Someone cut your dick off.
Yeah.
Someone cuts my dick off, I'm still going to put a lot of energy into making sure Kristen's still having lots of sexual experiences.
But not sexual intercourse.
With my penis? No, because it's
consummate.
gone. It's gone.
That's called consummate.
Okay, so it's on the actual day of the wedding. Yeah. I mean, that's quite complicated.
Okay.
And I don't know if we have a single case of that ever happening.
Okay, well.
But if that happened, that would be up to the gal to decide if she wanted to never have sex the rest of her life.
Yeah.
Or if she decided she does want to have sex, then what arrangement could they work out where she could still have sex and they could still be married?
Do you think most men would allow her to?
No, most men are very jealous and terrified. Yeah.
That's the thing. They would not allow her to go have sex with
I would
other
for sure. And I would almost insist on it. And she probably might even
She'd be like,
want
can you
to.
stop?
Yeah, I know. It would probably be a thing.
Yeah.
You're like, can't go your whole life. It's not your fault that my dick got cut off at the ceremony.
Right.
Yeah.
Little did you know she hired that robber.
Oh my God. Because she was asexual the whole time.
All right. That's it.
But again, someone asexual is going to be upset. I'm not judging you. I'm not talking about you. Two asexual people want to get married and have a non-sex marriage.
Or
that's
an
great.
Asexual person with the sexual person. If that sexual person decides it's fine.
Yeah. Good luck to them.
Okay, that's up to them. Everyone gets to make their own.
Yeah, but
rules,
everyone's got to be honest.
Unless it's incest.
Then you just got to be honest.
Everyone has to be honest. Yeah.
Yeah. If you're not honest, I think you're
a bad.
You should be able to get out of that.
Sure. I understand that. I also just think it's stupid. Like, annulment to me isn't less than a divorce. Just get a divorce.
Well, but it is in that there's no splitting of communal property. There's no, it just never happened. There's no bunch of legal fees. There's no
But it says the marriage records remain on file.
Yeah, but you no longer have to say I was married and divorced because you weren't.
Now that to me is fraudulent. If I married someone and then later and I found out that they had an annulment, they didn't tell me.
All I'm saying is you're not a divorcee. Who cares?
To me, it's the same thing. If I marry a divorcee
someone
or
should
someone
tell
who got
somebody
annulled, same thing.
if they had an annulment. But I definitely see why. If someone coerced you into wedding, you shouldn't have to go get a divorce and have that be your ex-husband and all these things. No, I think it should be like it never happened.
Interesting. You're very religious now.
I am very. In his name we pray. Under his eye.
Under his eye. All right.
That was it.
Yeah, that's it.
Okay.
Okay.
God, I don't want you to get an annulment, but it's very fun.
Why?
Well, just because we just talked about it. And I'm wondering, like what avenue.
I don't want to have to go through any of these.
What avenue are you going to pursue?
That is so mean.
Because you have a menu of options. Like, I want this annulled. Which one?
Let's hope it's not incest. Ugh. So sad.
All right. Love
bye.
you.
Love you.